Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I loved it. My name's Jay Milne. #Koob. Our sports update deliverer. The Koob.
I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up today.
You know what, Reid? You might be honest. All right, here's what's going on in the nest.
Welcome to the latest Disney franchise, The Pirates of Mayfield. All right. Boy, what a better feeling in oil country, eh? An impressive performance last night by your Edmonton Oilers. They lead the best-of-7 series with the Los Angeles Kings 3-2. They have won 3 consecutive games, and really just a beautiful performance last night in L.A. So the Oilers will try to finish it off tomorrow night when they are back home at Rogers Place. And, of course, that is going to be an 8 o'clock game at the downtown arena. So we will have an extended edition of the Reid Wilkins Show from 3 to 6:30 tomorrow. Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas take over with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show that'll go from 6:30 to 8. And then they will be on after the game as well, hopefully from an Oilers standpoint, after the series, as the Oilers will try to close it out. They've been pretty good in the McDavid-Draisaitl era in closing out series when they're up 3-2. One of the many things we will talk about over the course of the afternoon. We'll look deeper into some angles from last night's game. The Janmark goal, the Byfield no penalty shot, how Jim Hiller once again was using some of his players, how the Oilers have been able to use some of their players. A bunch of things like that we'll dive into. In the final hour of the show, Edmonton Elks General Manager Ed Hervey will join us. Always good to catch up with him, as the CFL draft was yesterday. And I'm sure for a lot of Oilers fans, it was a perfect night of hockey watching yesterday, because the Leafs lost and then the Oilers won. Now the Leafs still lead their series 3-2, just like Edmonton, but perhaps it's a little more nervous for Leafs fans given how that series has progressed. Gord Stellick is going to join us to talk a little bit about that series and what's going on in the Eastern Conference. I am Reid Wilkins. He is Jason Milne. This is Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Jay, how are you?
I'm doing great, Reid. How are you?
Good. First of all, thanks for all the well wishes from people yesterday. I will sort of tell the story of my day in the first hour of the show. If you're on YouTube, sorry you have to look at this. I may be in some sort of state like
What's
this.
there to be sorry about?
For the next little while. I did have surgery yesterday to repair a retinal detachment at the Royal Alexandra Hospital. I do not have to wear the eye patch, but the vision in my left eye is far from normal in the wake of the surgery. So to sort of limit the distraction of one eye being clear and the other eye being quite blurry, I'm wearing a patch to sort of keep my vision mostly clear and to protect this eye a little bit. Jason Milne, on the other hand, is just wearing that getup to be silly.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing it just to be silly. I'm doing it as the glue guy should to stand in solidarity with our dearest Reid Wilkins. I must say, this is harder than it looks to walk around with one of your eyes covered. So credit to you. Look, this isn't. I'm not doing this. I guess friends do this to each other. Okay, when you're in a tough situation and something happens that's serious in your life, it's up to your friends to make light of it, to have fun with it, which is all we're doing. This isn't going to last for days, or this is going to last for approximately one segment.
Right.
And then it'll be back to normal. Who knows, Reid? If the Oilers continue, Pirate J might have to show his face every once in a while. I'm just saying.
Well, I would say, maybe if the Oilers close out the series tomorrow, you can wear it
like Hernan's got
before every closeout opportunity.
La Bamba, his Los Lobos impersonation. Maybe Pirate J shows up after wins in solidarity for Reid Wilkins. So
yes. Well, I'm
glad you're here.
I learned yesterday, and I will tell and again, I'll kind of just explain what happened yesterday. And I always hesitate, how much to do that. But, I've learned from doing this job is you become part of people's lives. And obviously we're lucky to meet a lot of our listeners in person. And I know it was unusual for me to not be here on a playoff game day when I really wanted to work. And until about 11 a.m., I thought it was going to work. And now I realized that was idiotic. Which I'll talk about. But I am going to just sort of take people through this day because some people listening will have been through this.
Yes.
Some people will have had an eye procedure at some point. Other people might just be like, I know if somebody said, when I have a colleague or a friend say, hey, I had this procedure, I had a surgery, I usually say, if you're comfortable, can you tell me what happened? Because I don't know a lot about medicine. The human body is actually quite fascinating, and the way that it can be fixed, or made to function again. So I'll tell the story about what I went through and why and what I know about it and pain endurance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it was a heck of a day for you yesterday, and we were all, just happy you're back. Okay, that's first things first. Let's just get this out of the way. And secondly, the love that was poured out for you yesterday was great. You mean a lot to the people that listen, and I want you to know that. And we're glad you're back. And don't feel bad for me. I mean, a lot of people would take off a week, Reid. I mean, you're here in the flesh. Pirate Reid is here.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you want?
I didn't want to miss work yesterday, but I'll tell the story. It reached a point where it was inevitable, and anyway, I'll take everybody through the day because
I think you have.
Yeah,
it's a story. It's part of this show.
It is a story. It's now part of my journey, and I don't like to do it to get attention, but I understand people are curious, and again, maybe it's a bit of a book learning opportunity for people.
Look, as a 43-year-old, I don't get many opportunities to dress up.
Right, and you get to dress up.
And I get to dress up.
Your daughters must be thrilled right now.
I don't know that they know. They were concerned about you. I showed them the picture that we showed on the show yesterday, and they were concerned about you. But I don't know that they know I'm doing this. But I will say, Pirate J will show up day after Oilers wins. That's got to happen. And I think for the sake of this bit or celebrating your triumphant return, Pirate Reid should show up too. Eye patch or no eye patch. Just for the first segment.
I'll probably have something. I'll be dealing with this for a while.
Okay.
To some extent. I don't know if I'll have to keep wearing this, but to help me focus on the computer and my stuff I have to read. Yeah. One thing I have to read is to let people know that if they text us at 780-218-9999, they're using the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 Restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. You can also email jay@edmontonsportstalk.com, reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. We enjoy getting limericks. And we have a couple of limericks right here.
I already have. I have two. I think Bronco Nick sends them to both of us.
Yeah, but I have Bronco Nick's, and I have. I have Timber Woodsman's. Oh, he didn't write a limerick. He just said. He's at risk of a retinal detachment as well, which I heard a while ago.
Bill must be a new listener. He's chiming in the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. He says, "I love Jay. What's Glue Guy?" And that was a name that was given to me by our dearest Tom Gazzola in the early days of my story here at EST. I was bringing in coffees and donuts for the guy. A locker room guy. Every office, every locker room needs a glue guy, and I've somehow been blessed with that role, which I'm happy to have.
I found it confusing because when I was being courted for this position, there was obviously some mutual interest there. Dustin Nielsen said, "Yeah, I want you to meet Jay Milne, glue guy." And then I met you, and I was like, "So what's your background?" And you were like, "Oh, I owned a furniture store." And I was like, "Oh, I thought you owned like a glue factory." And you were like, "Why would I own a glue factory?" And I'm like, "Well, you're the glue guy."
Ah, okay. Ah.
And you're like, "I'm not literally the glue guy, you idiot."
Can you imagine if I was part of the Elmers family? That's really my last name is Jay Elmer.
I do find that interesting, though. Well, we're meandering already. That didn't take long.
Look at us, eh?
But sometimes, you'll hear. Well, I was going to say when you meet a wealthy person, I don't think I know a lot of really wealthy people, but you hear about these family stories. It's like, wasn't it the Onassis, the Jackie Onassis family? Like they were shipping magnets. And it's like, well, of course they got wealthy being shipped. But then you hear the other families. It's like, well, how did this family get their millions? Oh, they've owned like a popsicle stick factory since 1952. Yeah. I'm like, really? Just there's that much need for popsicle sticks?
Yeah.
Oh, tongue depressors, popsicle sticks, and tongue depressors. That's how you make your fortune, everybody. Jablonski, make the damn popsicle stick. I've made 4,000 gross already. Make 5,000.
I wonder when they knew when the popsicle stick person said, wait, somebody came in and said, you're missing a totally different market in tongue suppressors.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because they're not the same shape. The tongue suppressor is quite a bit wider. But you'd think a popsicle factory would be able to transfer
concept,
over.
Yeah.
Just change the
I often think about, like from playing board games, like all the cards that got to be printed.
Yes.
You know, and they're not all the same. Like if you buy a game that has 200 cards, it's usually 200 unique cards, or many of them are unique, right? So anyway, 780-218-9999, the River Crew Resort and Casino inbox. Email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, Jay at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can converse with us, but mostly with each other in the Nasty Chat. That's our chat on the YouTube channel. I see that subscriptions to Edmonton Sports Talk have risen.
Yes.
So
we're hunting 12,000.
So share the link with other people to bring them in. We know we're bringing in some new people every day. So welcome. I always say to first timers of this show, there is a lot of sports talk. Yes, no doubt about that.
We'll get to it.
There are a lot of meandering discussions as well that I think are usually entertaining and you might find interesting as well. So if you're on YouTube though, you can participate in the chat. You don't have to, but you can. It's a fun place to be most of the time. And give us a thumbs up. Hit the little thumbs up icon on YouTube. If you're on your computer, it's underneath the video image.
Give the people what they want, Reid.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. Well, I was gone for a day, and I forgot what I got to do.
Well, Maddie was holding it over their heads.
Click. Must you click? Please click.
That's a very
must you click? You must click. Thumb.
R.
Yeah. Ooh. And yeah, somebody was posting in the SJ, hey, Reid, it might be worth telling people at 3:20, I'll say what happened.
And they're tongue depressors, by the way, not suppressors.
What did we call them?
I called it a suppressor, I think.
Oh, what did I call it?
Probably the right thing.
I don't know. I don't know what I called it. When I was a kid, I used to gag when I had to go to the doctor and they pushed your tongue down and made you say, ah.
Oh, that's the worst.
I found that
it's the worst.
Very uncomfortable.
Terrible.
So, let's try to get, our goal, here's the thing, for the thumbs up on YouTube, and I just want to remind everybody, and especially if you're new, because you may be like, oh, what are these guys? These guys need thumbs up to feel good about themselves. Well, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But we're building EST. This station is about a little over a year and a half old. We made, and I was sad I missed this yesterday, we made a massive announcement yesterday about a multi-year deal with Play Alberta. I got the hoodie on today. You've probably heard of Play Alberta. They're a pretty significant force in the province ever since they started, probably 3 or 4 years ago. You may notice them advertising on the jerseys of the Edmonton Oilers, and now they're a major partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. So,
well, Maddie said
that's awesome that we have them alongside us.
They've got the Oilers, they've got the Elks,
right?
And now they've got EST.
EST.
It's the trifecta.
So, it's pretty amazing. Where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah, click the thumbs up, not just so we feel great, but we're building Edmonton Sports Talk. So the way that these computers work nowadays, let's say Jay Milne and I didn't know each other, and we're on YouTube.
Continue.
And Jay Milne watches a video about pirates.
Yes.
And Reid Wilkins, in a totally other part of Edmonton, watches a video about pirates. And we both click a thumbs up. And then later that day, I watch a video about earthworms and give it a thumbs up. So then what this computer is going to do is going to be like, oh, next time Jay Milne goes into YouTube, I'm going to suggest he watch this video about YouTube because he and Reid Wilkins both like pirates. Reid now likes earthworms. Maybe Jay will like an earthworm. So if you click that thumbs up, I believe it's called an algorithm. So then everybody's happy. Everybody's watching stuff they like. Like I told you, like, I watch a lot of board game videos. I watch a lot of videos about comic books and comic book movies. So when I go onto YouTube, lo and behold, oh, hey, Reid, here's a video about a new board game. You want to watch the review? Yes, I do, Mr. Algorithm. Thank you for reading my mind, computer magic.
Was this actually true that if we get to 12K before 6, Dusty has to eat sushi?
Wasn't it
the Sprite challenge?
We can say it's true. Do you know exactly what we're at?
Yeah, I'm going to find out.
We've
right
gone
now.
up by like several hundred subscriptions over the course of the playoffs
Oh,
already.
yes. Okay, so we are at, we're just over 100 and 150 away. So let's tell everybody you know. Grab your colleague's phone, subscribe. Tell your wife, tell your parents, tell your aunts, tell your uncles, tell your in-laws, tell your cousins.
Yeah.
Tell your enemies. Doesn't matter.
Call your grandma.
Or your girlfriend.
Well, I got to tell you what. I think I've mentioned my wonderful Aunt Mary, who is, I believe she is 96 years of age.
Wow.
She will watch on YouTube.
Good for
Maybe
her.
not the entire show every day. She's got a busy life. My Aunt Mary, 96 years of age, loyal Oilers playoff viewer. Quite a big fan of Zach Hyman, my mother has told me. It's my mom's sister.
Okay.
Not always a fan of the officiating.
Oh, gosh. Too early.
Yeah. Well, we might touch on that. Something specific from last night. We're not just going to randomly complain about stuff. Something very specific happened in last night's game. Besides the Oilers playing great, there was a befuddling non-call by Kendrick Nicholson.
Maybe more than one.
I think we should touch on it.
We will.
People are asking Matt Hyman in the nasty chat if he's nervous about tonight's game. We got a Jets game tonight.
We do. I'm not. I don't know. Like this is going to be a big test for the Jets tonight. I mean, it's 2-2.
But what's unusual about a playoff series being tied 2-2? They're supposed to be close.
But this was supposed to be a different Winnipeg Jets team this year. They were supposed to have. They got it.
Haven't lost a home game.
That's right, Reid. And the series doesn't start
until the road team wins a game.
There you go.
So now the Oilers series has officially started. The first 4 games of the Oilers series you watched, it's like they never happened. Why were you nervous?
Why?
All right. So we do have an off-topic topic. This is great to be back.
Yeah.
I was so upset not to be working yesterday when I was conscious. Which I was too often, which I will tell that story as well. All right. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. And since 2024, William Huff has presented the off-topic topic. Pretty simple today. Tell us a gross eyeball story.
Yes. Why not?
Doesn't have to be a human eyeball.
We're leaning into it already.
A gross eyeball story.
Might as well carry on.
Koob's already upset.
Yeah. Well, I got a plain and simple one. It was when we were younger, we went to Moose Lake every summer, which is just outside of Bonnyville. We were fishing on the dock. There's a group of kids, and you got your rod and you're throwing your Len Thompsons out there. Probably not going to catch it, but we were just screwing around.
Okay.
And somebody draws back their rod a little too far.
Oh no! And
right in somebody's eye, and then goes to release and tears part of the eye out. And it was thankfully the side that took the brunt of the damage, but close enough. It was terrible.
There's just something with
you only got 2 of them, Reid, and as well as anybody right now.
Yeah, not that any injuries are pleasant, but it seems though some things with fingernails and eyes. Like, do you remember that movie Black Swan when she's peeling off the skin next to her fingernails? And in one of the remakes of The Evil Dead that came out a few years ago, there's like a close-up of a needle going into an eye. And I watched it in a theater, and you could just hear people in the audience, whereas like most of the movie is limbs being cut off and satanic beings being reincarnated. Oh, yeah, no, that's cool. Oh, needle in the eye. Get me out of the theater. So anyway, your gross eyeball story is the off-topic topic. I'm going to tell, I don't know how much of my story is gross, but I will take everybody through what happened with my left eyeball really over the last couple of weeks, but it all kind of culminated Monday and Tuesday. We're going to hear from Chris Knobloch. He spoke in Los Angeles today before the Oilers came back to Edmonton for tomorrow's game. We will talk about the non-penalty shot. Jay Milne has his ongoing evaluation of Jim Hiller's coaching ability. But here comes the Koob.
trio of games around the NHL. Washington hosts Montreal in Game 5. The Habs are on the brink of elimination. They're without Patrick Laine tonight, naming Jakub Kubusch as a starter. Sam Montembeault is unavailable. After that, the Bolts hope to stay alive, down 3-1 to the Panthers as St. Louis battles Winnipeg, with that series now a best of 3. From the States, the undefeated Canadians have puck drop with Czechia in quarterfinals action at the U18 Men's World Championship. Meanwhile, WHL playoff action sees Medicine Hat eyeing a sweep against Lethbridge in the Eastern Conference Final, while Spokane meets Portland in Game 3 of the Western Conference Series. The Winterhawks trailing 2-0. On the court, the Lakers fight for their playoff lives as they're down 3-1 to the T-Wolves, while the Warriors tip off with the Rockets as Golden State has a chance to take the series in 5. And baseball has a full slate on tap. The Jays rematch the Red Sox after falling 10-2 last night. First pitch goes just after 5, and right now there's 4 games live. The Padres hold the Giants 2-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning. This sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or call them at 780-467-5014. The Reid Wilkins Show rolls on once we get back from break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
2 guys and a goalie.
Fill in this blank. Evan Bouchard is the most blank player in this series.
I'm just trying to break out the thesaurus and see if there's another word.
Trying to find another word. Chaotic, polarizing. V-Power just says classic. Busby says frustrating.
Alcohol-inducing. Or is that 2 words?
2 guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Spin to win Fridays at the Banquet. Every Friday, spin the wheel for a chance to win big and save on your bill. It's that easy. Spin, win, and save. Don't miss out. Details at thebanquetbar.com. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Downsizing, upsizing, or staging your home to sell? Sentinel Storage is Edmonton's team for affordable storage solutions. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Sentinel Storage, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers.
Thanks, Koob. Okay, appreciate you checking out the show this afternoon. Oh, by the way, thanks to Matthew Awanek for filling in for me yesterday. I know me not being here meant some extra work for people, mostly him, I guess. I don't know if he does anything to begin with. So
he was great.
He was great.
He always is great.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oilers will play the LA Kings tomorrow. Oilers up 3-2 in the series. Like I said, we got some Chris Knobloch audio coming up in the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel in about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll dive into... Here's what I'll say. We're going to dive into some things probably from last night's game that a lot of people are talking about, and then we're going to dive into maybe some more subtle things that are things we noticed. I'm not saying we're the only ones that noticed them, but maybe some things where we were like, hey, what about that? That we'll dive into as well, and we'll invite people to give their thoughts on as well. Okay? 123 thumbs. Pretty good start. Keep clicking away. Oh, I better do the song again.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb.
So Matthew had the song ready and wouldn't play it, or you wouldn't?
He wouldn't. He held it over the listeners, right, Koob?
Yeah, and I also had the power of.
But
I had the access to it,
that's
but
right.
He vetoed it.
He
and
did.
said, if you played the song, we're gonna have a lengthy meeting tomorrow.
He pulled out his coup card and said, no.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Well, keep giving us the thumbs up. No, I will not be a pleasure delayer, a song withholder like Matthew Awanek. So,
yeah, Reid, I know this is not going to be something that's talked about all the time, right? But get it off your chest.
What, the thumbs or my eyeball?
No, your eyeball.
No, well, tell the story.
Tell everybody what happened.
And then we may just mention once a day in the future if I have to keep wearing the patch.
Will there be the occasional eye joke?
Yeah,
yes,
that's fine.
Yes, I mean
that's fine.
That's part of the gig.
Yeah. So just a quick background, and if anybody's noticed or met me, I have very thick glasses. I have very poor eyesight. I am nearsighted. So basically, my eyeball is not round. It is sort of squished. It is like oblong. Like one of the doctors I talked to yesterday said your eye is more like a football shape. Like it's not pointed at both ends, but it's compressed. And I was first sort of told about the danger of something happening in my retina probably. Well, I remember I was at City TV. So that was like 16, 17 years ago. So probably my early-ish 30s. Maybe I was 33, 34. And what happened was, because my eye is the wrong shape, I had some holes in your eye. And I learned that apparently, now, first of all, there's probably some of you out there that maybe are optometrists or ophthalmologists. So I realize I may say things that aren't totally correct, or I'm simplifying, or I'm trying to remember.
You're not a doctor.
I'm trying to remember how they were explained to me. But I think generally I'll be telling this story accurately. So your body fills in these holes with pigment, and I think that's one way you can get floaters in your eye. So they kind of said, we got to keep an eye on you. So because you are in danger of a retinal detachment or a retinal tear, and apparently especially a retinal tear could lead to blindness if it's not looked at relatively quickly. And I've had my pupils dilated. So they put these drops in your eye and you look like a cartoon character. Your pupils are the total size of your iris, and then they shine a light and they make you move your eyeball around so they can see in at different angles, and they see what's going on. So I've had that done to me a few times. So last February, I was walking down the steps in my house, and all of a sudden I thought there was a bug buzzing around me, and I had some flashes in my eye. And what happened was something occurred in my eye, and I got this really noticeable floater. That
what's a floater?
So a floater is you don't have them at all, eh?
I don't know.
So
I don't
a floater they're like things in your vision that are either black or sort of silhouetted.
Yeah.
And they move with your eyeball because they're on your retina in a certain spot, right?
Okay.
So I got this floater and I was a bit concerned about it. And I went to the eye doctor and they checked it out and they said, it'll probably be okay. Eventually it might go away or your brain will block it out. And it's sort of like in 4 o'clock in my vision. And it was, I actually named it New Zealand because it's kind of shaped like the island of New Zealand. I rarely spot it anymore. Okay. But I have other little floaters that I've had for a long time. So about a couple of weeks ago, I don't know how it started, but in my left eye, and for those of you who can't see, I'm holding my fingers on my cheekbone on the towards the outside of my face. I had this black floater on the edge of my vision that looked like someone was holding a marble on my cheekbone. Okay?
Right.
So I was like, okay, it's another stupid floater. I'll probably have to just deal with it and it'll go away or lessen or whatever, right? But it really wasn't going away. And then Sunday night after the Oilers game, it sort of seemed to be changing a little bit. Like it wasn't as round. It was getting a little fuzzy around the edges, and it seemed to be changing color a little bit, like maybe to a dark purple. So I was like, okay, I might have to watch this. And then at work on Monday, I noticed it was getting more getting larger. And as you know, Jay, I eventually told you, I said, hey, something's happening. And, my vision was getting kind of blurry. And then what I did was, and Jay, you saw this, I covered up my right eye and I was standing across from you. You were sitting, I was standing, and I covered up my left eye and I was like, oh, you're gone. Mm-hmm. So about the bottom third of my vision in my left eye was now black or very dark gray.
Like almost underwater, you said,
yeah,
too.
and it was a weird, like jelly-like sort of thing. And then I told Dustin about it, and he's like, well, what do you mean? So I looked at him and I covered my eye and I said, I can't see you right now. And he's like, what? So I called my eye doctor, and I called 3 different eye doctors, all with the same company, and they said nobody can see you. But then finally, one of them said, the Royal Alexander has an eye clinic. You got to go to emergency. Like, don't wait. Well, I did wait a little bit because
don't pledge or delay,
because I finished the show.
You did,
and by this point, in the evening, now about the lower half of my vision in the left eye was gone. But working together, my eyes working together, I could see. It just was, there were blurry patches. So I went to emergency Monday night. I probably was there about 2.5 hours before I was called in. And then I probably was an hour in a little eye exam room. The staff was very nice. The doctor who treated me, so here's one thing that he did. He sat across from me, okay? And he said, cover your right eye. So he disappears, right?
Your good eye.
Because he said, cover your right eye.
Good eye. Yeah.
Cover your good eye. So I cover my right eye, and he disappears. And then he says, can you see me wiggling my fingers? And I said, no. He eventually, his hand appeared way out on the left edge of my vision.
Oh, wow.
And then he sort of held it up. He goes, can you see it up here? I said, yes. And then he brought it down. He goes, tell me when it goes away. And I said, there, it went away. And then he held up a little case that had a label on it. And he said, okay, look straight ahead. And he said, can you see the case? And I said, I can see the case. He goes, there's a label on it. Can you read it? I said, no, I can't. And he said, can you try to read it? So I moved my eyeball up and to the left, but as I did that, I moved the part of my eye that was now black. And I said, I can't find it. I can't find the label. So they did an ultrasound on my eye. So they put a pasty thing over my eye, put the ultrasound gel on that, and did an ultrasound over my eye. So it was the doctor and a resident came in to do that. And during the ultrasound, which was brief, they're going, oh, wow, perfect. Oh, awesome.
Jeepers.
And I'm like, oh, interesting. And they said, hey, sorry if we were exclaiming, but we got like a perfect image of your eye. You have a classic retinal detachment.
Yes.
And I said, well, okay, at least I know what it is.
There was a student there, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're like, this is perfect. This is it.
The doctor said he actually took a picture of the readout to send to the ophthalmologist. So they tell me, come back 9:45 Tuesday morning. You're going to have retinal surgery to repair retinal detachment. So I emailed all you guys and I said, I'm planning on working. It's supposed to take 1 to 2 hours.
You did. This is no lie.
So I didn't know how involved this was. So I show up, and the Royal Alex has an eye clinic. Probably some people know that. And I get examined. I get examined again. I get examined again. Very different exams, but variations on the same thing. And it's probably coming up to about 11 o'clock now. So finally, I said to one of the doctors, I said, are you performing the procedure today? Because I'm like, this has to be getting on with it already, right? And she kind of giggled and was like, first of all, we're not sure what procedure you're going to get because we're trying to figure out if you have a detachment or a tear. And I should point out, the doctor who helped me Monday night was an emergency doctor who knew about eyes. So he had a pretty good, but now I was seeing the experts in the field. So I'm trying to remember everything that happened, but finally it was arrived at that I would get the surgery yesterday. And that, so what they do to repair a retinal detachment, I've since learned is, and so basically, so first of all, sorry, I should explain what happened with the detachment. Your eye has, like, for lack of a better explanation, kind of like a jelly fluid in it. I think it's called viscous. and it's like in a sack. And as you get old, it gets drier. And if your eye's a funny shape, that's not great either. So part of that dry, like you tore some of the retina off the wall, right? It's like they said it's like tearing wallpaper away. So what they do to repair this is they drain the fluid out, and your body will eventually make more. They inject a gas bubble into your eye to kind of push the retina back. And I believe they also do something to freeze the retina back to the wall of your eye. And they go into your eye and put a buckle in there. It has some kind of a name. I forget what it is, to keep your eye the right shape. Okay. So finally, at some point, it's arrived at that this is going to happen. Okay. This is now happening. So, all right. I can't remember if I texted you guys, but I was trying to keep my parents as well informed as I could. So you go to the surgery thing. You gotta be nude underneath the thing. You can't even keep your gaunch on, which I found weird, because they drop you off and they're like, hey, clothes off, underwear included, and put the robe on. And I'm like, I got to take my gaunch off? They're like, yep. I'm like, okay. So then, like, first of all, after finding out that I need this surgery and just the whole rigmarole of the day, as people know, the most frustrating thing was trying to tie the friggin' gown.
Of course.
Yeah, like that's just awful. So, then you're sitting there waiting to go to surgery. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but at one point I was going to be put under, and then I was just going to be sedated, so I'd be kind of awake for it. Now, there are numerous videos online about this buckle being installed in someone's eye. I have yet to watch one. I want to at some point, but I guess they actually make holes in the whites of your eye around the pupil and push this buckle in, and then it sort of goes in and helps reshape your eye. So eventually, I'm like, so you're in like this stall, with a curtain waiting, and then they wheel you in a bed, and then you're like pretty close to the operating room. And you gotta remember, I don't have my glasses on, and I'm half blind. Like I was literally half blind in my left eye.
And naked.
Underneath I could have taken some photos for OnlyFans. Reid Wilkins up gown shots. So what's Reid wearing for the eye surgery? Yeah. What's going to pop out next? So anyway, at some point, someone's talking to me about being sedated. And I was like, whatever. Like, I clearly don't have a choice in the matter. Like, don't ask me if it's okay at this point. So there was two people, and one of them said, you're going to feel like you had a couple beers. And I was like, oh, I said, great. They get the buzz, and I don't have to pay for the beer. So I got, I guess, a little bit sedated, and then I get wheeled into the operating room. Now, you got to remember, I don't have my glasses on, and my eyesight's terrible.
So you're
but I see the lights, and I'm like, yeah, it's like in a movie, or like when they're doing an alien autopsy. Yeah. Here I go.
Sure.
But this, I have never had surgery. 51 years of age, I have never had surgery like this. So
were you nervous?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think I was going to pass away. No, but it's just the uncertainty,
uneasy feeling.
And they told me, okay, so I'm sedated. I'm not knocked out. They said you're going to feel pressure on your eye, but that'll be it, right? So I get in there, and then they're putting like sheets and plastic over top of me. So I think I was totally covered, except my eyeball peeking out, and maybe other parts of me. I don't know if they uncovered anything else. They're like, yeah, cover up his face, but lift up that gown. Let's see what's under there. So anyway, oh, you know what? Put it back. So anyway, the surgery starts happening, and I'm like aware of it under this mass of whatever I was under. Now, I think I might have been out of it at some points, but I definitely felt pressure, and at some points I definitely felt pain. I was just like, man, that actually hurts. Like, I can't just feel him like, when you go to the dentist and you get a needle.
Yeah, say something.
And you can feel him pushing, but that doesn't hurt, right? Like, it's like, okay, he's taking a tooth out, but I can't actually feel the pain. Like, I could feel stuff going in, and I could feel like the stings of stuff, but like, I'm a little out of it. But I remember thinking, like, do I say something? And sometimes, he would push or whatever, and I would kind of grunt. So I think I was sort of underneath this mass of whatever, going like, So finally the doctor says, like, what's going on? How are you doing? And I was like, I said, I can feel what you're doing. And then I hear the doctor say, can we give him some more? He's not supposed to be able to talk. So then,
little did they know you talk for a living.
Yeah, exactly. So then the surgery ended. I think it was about 45 minutes. They wheeled me back to the stall I was in where my clothes were. And they said, we've called your parents and they'll be coming to pick you up soon. And they gave me some kind of a cookie and some juice. It was like halftime at a soccer game. I was like, okay, what's the score? 0-0, I assume. Soccer. And then my parents took me home and I felt okay. I took some Tylenol for the sore eyeball. I had a couple naps before the Oilers game. But what was frustrating was I was wearing this shield, right? So my eye was covered sort of with a medical type of patch, and then
we showed it on the show yesterday.
So it was like a shield. So my glasses didn't sit on that properly. So when I was trying to watch Leafs Ottawa, like, it's still blurry because even though my injured eye is covered, my good eye doesn't have my glasses sitting on it properly. So I listened to the end of the Leafs game on iHeartRadio. And then for the Oilers game, I watched on this laptop and I had to have my face about a foot away from the laptop. Like, a TV was too far away. But I got to see the game. The Oilers played great, which we're going to talk about. So then this morning I had a follow-up appointment at 8:15 with the surgeon. And I'm just kind of disheartened about how long this process is going to take. I guess I'm a little impatient person. I can't drive for a month. The full recovery is probably going to be about 3 months, at which point I'll have to get an eye exam and likely get new glasses because the shape of my eye will have changed from this gas bubble and from the buckle being in there.
Right.
I have to wear a bracelet until June 24th, anniversary of Game 7. Maybe that's the year the Oilers win it this year.
Maybe it's good luck charm.
I have to wear this bracelet telling people that I have a gas bubble in my eye. Maybe if I ever need some kind of treatment or I'm knocked out, they'll need to know this. I have to sleep on my left side. That's the side the bubble is in, I think, just for the pressure. I can't go in an airplane. I can't climb mountains. So much for Everest, Jay. Guess we'll put that off till next year. And the weird thing is, I can see the gas bubble in my eye. Okay?
Still, right now.
Yes, it'll be there for a while. So it's on the bottom third of my eye. So it's actually at the top of my eye, but your brain reverses the image, right? But so on the bottom third of my eye, I see like this arc, and then it has a bunch of little bubbles on top. It almost like one of those cute pictures of a dog's paw you see people put on their cars.
Okay, yeah.
And it's that eye sort of has a green hue to it, I guess, maybe because of the gas. I don't know. But it was funny this morning. Before I saw the surgeon, I saw a couple of nurses, and they said, okay, cover your right eye. Or they gave me one of those devices that covers your right eye. And they said, can you read what's on the screen there? And I said, well, first of all, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read. I wouldn't be able to read that anyway because my vision is so bad without my glasses. And second of all, I just see like a green blur. Like, it's like looking through a dirty green window. And I think there was one nurse being trained and another nurse was more experienced.
Oh man,
and I think the experienced nurse was trying not to say anything, and then the experienced nurse said, "That's normal. The gas might have a certain color to it." And then she kind of said to the other nurse, "He needs glasses. He can't read without his glasses." So everything was normal. And then I saw the surgeon, and he seemed pretty happy. I said, "Can I work today?" He said, "What do you do for a living?" I told him, and he's like, "Great game last night." I was like, "Yes, it was," and I want to talk about it. And I was bummed out I couldn't talk about it yesterday. So I think I hit on all the points there. I'm a little frustrated about how long the process is going to take to heal. I was a little ignorant about that. I was like, I'll probably be inconvenienced for a few days and then I'll see normally.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have to get new lenses for my glasses. I'd like to keep these frames if I can. Now, as for wearing the eye patch, I didn't necessarily want to do it. But again, it's distracting to have the left eye so wonky and the right eye relatively normal. So at least this limits the distraction. You know, I can sort of, it's better to focus.
Well, and it's not
to see
like
stuff.
It's not like under the patch. It's like, oh, gross, Reid, put that on.
No, well, my eye was quite
It
swollen.
just looks like you got bit by a bee on your eye.
Yeah.
It's just swole up.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not hard to.
Yeah.
It's just easier for you to do what you're doing without having that blurriness out of your left eye.
So that's basically what happened. I was nude under a gown. I could be nude under the table right now.
TBD, bro.
It's the day is young.
And for the record, I've said, Reid, I will chauffeur you. You know, when I can.
Appreciate that.
You know, if I offered to drive you home tonight. I still stand as long as I don't have sports that I got to get to for my kids. I will chauffeur you 100%. But I think we could document it. And like, for example, tonight after the show, when I'm driving you home, you could go live on our Instagram page and it could be the drive home show after the Reid Wilkins show.
That is a good idea. I'm going to try
to. That would be great.
I am going to. I'm going to limit how much. Well, I don't like imposing on people. I think Iwanik's going to give me a ride to work tomorrow. I know my parents will help, but I don't want to impose on them.
It's not imposing
too much
when people are offering.
No, I know, but like you gotta.
Reid, you're our guy.
I don't live where anybody lives.
No, that's what you do. You help people out, right?
Yeah, no, I know, and I appreciate that. So I'm a little frustrated with the process, and even like, well, Reid, you can't go out. We'll sit down and read a book. Well, that's going to be difficult for a while, but I'll be okay. Far worse things could have happened. And when I was waiting to go into the OR, I heard the nurse talking to the gentleman next to me, and he was getting some sort of cataract procedure done. So that's my deal.
Well, you're still upright.
I'm still upright.
You can see out of one eye.
And these retinal things happen.
Yes, they do. You're on the mend. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
That'll be fun the first time you get back behind the old wheels.
Well, not being able to drive sucks.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
That might have to be the off-topic topic. What's the one thing that you couldn't live without?
Yeah. But we do have a couple of eyeball stories already coming in.
Oh, yes, we do.
As part of the off-topic topic. So we'll get to those. We might have to push back the Oil Understood till 4 o'clock, Koob, because I rambled on there about my eyeball.
No, it was a great story.
Sorry for taking your time. Thanks for listening, everybody, but I know some people were curious or maybe just wanted to hear about my gown attire or lack thereof. Here's a sports update.
Breaking news in the CFL, Elks' 10th overall pick, Patrick Newell, has received a 1-year suspension for violating the CFL substance policy, with the Elks being fully aware of his impending suspension before selecting him in the second round last night. Edmonton made another move, signing American offensive lineman Will Marotta after he spent the last 5 years at the University of Albany. And first round playoff action in the NHL continues from Winnipeg. The Jets take on the Blues, tied at 2 entering Game 5. The Canadians challenge the Capitals, fighting to stay alive, down 3-1, having Jakob Kubusch taking the crease, while the defending Cup champs in Florida can punch their ticket to the second round in Game 5 against the Lightning. Basketball sees 2 games. The Lakers trail 3-1 to the Timberwolves, while Golden State can take Houston in 5 games. Warriors and Rockets kick off the night at 5:30. And baseball has tons of action. Toronto rematches Boston. That one goes just after 5. And there's 3 games underway right now, including the Dodgers smacking the Marlins 12-3 in the 8th inning. The Reid Wilkins Show continues once we get back from break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Do you have pets? Horses, chickens? Did the place you used to get your feed recently close down? Have no fear. Clover Bar Feeds is here. Whether it's dogs, cats, horses, or chickens, Clover Bar Feeds has you covered. Offering a large variety of food and feed, you can trust the experts at Clover Bar Feeds. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. This means you can expect nothing less than top-notch service and selection. Come visit them at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or visit them online at cloverbarfeeds.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. Little Jason Milne on the lead vocals here. Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Plenty of Oilers discussion to come. You're going to hear some comments from Chris Knobloch as the Oilers, he took questions from the media before the Oilers flew back to Edmonton for tomorrow's Game 6. Oilers now up 3-2 in the best of 7. Elks GM Ed Hervey will join us at 5:20. What's going on there?
The Elks have just released a statement regarding their first draft pick. Well, it was in the second round of the draft last night. Darien Newell has received a 1-year suspension for violating the CFL substance policy.
Really?
Yeah. So here. I'm just going to read the statement that Ed Hervey, GM Ed Hervey, attached to this as well. The Edmonton Elks organization was aware of Darien Newell's impending suspension before selecting him on Tuesday night. Throughout the draft process, we completed our due diligence on Darien and came away satisfied with both the person and the player. The organization is committing to supporting Darien through the process, and we look forward to when he can join the green and gold.
Okay, so basically the Elks have drafted a player who is suspended for a year, and they drafted him knowing he would be suspended for a year.
Yes.
So maybe Ed will expand on that when we have him on.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, to me, that says that this was a player that was supposed to be and projected to go in the top 3 of this draft.
Okay.
Which that's where the meat and potatoes of the CFL draft are. You'll find some depth talent later on in later rounds.
Okay.
But that's where the players that can come in and contribute right away go. He was one of them. So they looked at him, looked at the character of this player. They did their due diligence, as Ed said, and they felt that this was still worth the pick, even though they're going to have to wait a year before he can suit up for the green and gold.
Okay, well, we will have Ed on at about 20 after 5 to touch on that and some other Elks-related stories. Our off-topic for William Huff, give us an eyeball-related story. I guess I said gross. It doesn't have to be gross. This is a good one from my friend Doug. He says, as a high school student playing at the U of A basketball camp, I could feel my opponent's finger right inside my eye. Scratched my cornea pretty badly, but in trying to be tough, I kept playing. I was seeing 3 baskets and just aimed at the middle one. Later at the doctor visit, later doctor visit meant I was my own version of a pirate at the next day at camp. Wow. Seeing 3 baskets, just shoot at the middle one. I guess that's a pretty good strategy. This one is, I am having a little trouble reading here.
I can get to some here if you're...
Okay, yeah, I got to get this one ready.
This comes from Marcus Paulington, Lost Aussie Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
He sent in those words. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Not so much a gross story, but a kid in elementary school. My family was banned from bringing anything in to show and tell that wasn't in a clear container. I had brought in a sheep's eyeball into school. Well, being from the farm, my father had killed a sheep for our own meat supply, and I thought it would be interesting to show the rest of the kids. Our teacher wasn't overly pleased with that, and the teacher was a little grossed out. My dad still has a great laugh retelling this story to people.
Okay. Yeah. And William Mike Spear sends this. Years ago when I was a kid, I was in Scouts and we were at summer camp. There were a bunch of groups there. And to get to our camp from anywhere, we had to canoe. One day I was canoeing back to our campsite with a kid named Andrew. He had lost an eye a year or two before and now had a glass eye. It wasn't a full eyeball, but basically half. He went close to another camp and there was one kid standing on the beach. He yelled to me, "Hey, I know you." Yeah, I said, "No." He replied, "You're on TV." Andrew winks at me and said, "That's right." The other kid said, "I saw that eye." Andrew replied, "Want to see another one?" and pulled out his fake eye. I thought the kid was going to faint right on the beach. Still makes me laugh to this day. My goodness.
Jeepers.
Oh. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for listening to my eyeball tale. I will not make anybody relive that again, but I wanted to tell the tale. And again, if something weird is happening with your eye, don't wait, especially if you're losing chunks of your vision. That's not good.
Don't pleasure delay.
Don't pleasure delay. Go to your eye doctor. And as I found out, the Royal Alex Eye Clinic is really cool. Keep giving us the thumbs up on YouTube. How about this, Jay? In less than an hour, we have achieved double word of the day territory. So let's push. Yeah. What's our show record now? 340?
353.
353, right. It's a palindrome.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get, next plateau is 200. Let's keep clicking away.
Let's go. This is the Reid eyeball show. Click. What better day?
Look, and people should be,
people should be happy.
I shouldn't say people, because we do have people who tune in who aren't Oilers fans, which is fine.
Yeah, but you could still be
we're
happy.
in Edmonton, but we expect Oil Country is quite happy, quite pleased with last night's game. I thought right from the outset, I just loved the way the Oilers were playing. Detailed, committed, not taking silly risks. And I also think, because what did I say earlier in the series? LA's playing at a high level. Can they do it for 4 to 7 games? Now, I think LA still played pretty hard last night, but I noticed, a few more Oilers getting to the front of the net. Well, a lot more Oilers. I noticed LA not always being as sharp with their breakout passes, maybe turning the puck over or not getting the puck down the ice as efficiently as they were earlier in the series. Now, the Oilers are also doing things to stop them, just like LA was doing things to stop the Oilers earlier, but that's all part of it. The one thing that I'll give LA credit for, Kemper had that's the first time in this series an LA, a goaltender, I didn't even look at the 3 stars, but that's the first time
he was a
goaltender was a legitimate star of the game.
Yes. Played outstanding. I mean, over double the shots. The shots were 46 to 22 for the Oilers.
Yeah.
And if Kemper was not on his A game, that game could have been 6-1.
Yes.
There was numerous chances. But look, the game for the Oilers, they controlled the game the whole time.
Yes.
And even though, I heard them talking about it earlier, was there still a nervous energy for Oilers fans even going into the third? And, even though they were in such control, I think Hernan said it, they are in control. Now they just got to finish it, right? Which they ultimately did. But yeah, I mean, team defense was solid. And we're going to break it all down a lot more and get into the intricacies of what happened last night and what led to this. But I honestly think it started in their defensive zone. A lot of good things that happened for the Oilers started in their own zone, whether it was one player or a team, a group of players coming back, doing that first, which led to offense.
Yeah, well, and it's always nerve-wracking when it's tied. And most of the game, it was tied. It was either 0-0 or 1-1. So even though you're out playing a team, you always worry, are they going to get that bounce, that tip, that one chance? And, the Kings did have some chances, but the Oilers defended well. I described Pickett's performance as cool. Like he just looked settled. Like he obviously wasn't as busy, but I thought he had a pretty good game as well, and he battles in the crease as well. So that's another positive story. So just a good game for the Oilers. Now we're not getting all, not on this show. We're not getting all the season is over or the series is over. We're getting too cocky, but
Because
very
it's not.
good signs for the Oilers. Well, here's the thing. I always expect the best game. I always expect the next game to be the best game of the series because teams should keep building. For the first time in the series, LA is really, really desperate.
Yes.
And now we'll see if they have answers because they have gone 5 periods with really not touching the puck a lot. So they got to figure that out. We'll see if their coach can help them figure it out. Jay has some very special thoughts about Mr. Hiller as we move through the afternoon. You're going to hear from Chris Knobloch. Gord Stellick is going to check in as well to visit the tension in Leafs land. All in the final 2 hours of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
The Lock Shop. I mean, if LA goes down in the fashion that it looks like they're about to, after arguably being the better team for the first 4 games of the series, to potentially go out in 6 would be devastating. And again, this is 4 years in a row where they're having to deal with Connor and Leon and the rest of the Edmonton Oilers. And they may petition to move to the Central Division or something like that.
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your home for great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
My mother used to let us not lock the doors. She's like, if you're locking the doors inside of the house, it means you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, that's why we lock the doors.
Host of the Bad Friends and Whiskey Ginger podcast, don't miss Andrew Santino, Freeze Peach, live at the River Cree May 22nd.
Michael, what are you doing? We have locks on the outside of the house to keep criminals from coming inside. There's no criminals inside of this house. Yes, there are, Karen.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. Excitement, bet on it.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Play more tables and games. Play more tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Play more tables and games. PlayMoreGames.ca.
Darien Newell, Edmonton's 10th overall pick in last night's CFL draft, has been suspended for 1 year for violating the CFL's drug policy. General Manager Ed Hervey released a statement saying that the team was fully aware of Newell's impending suspension before selecting him. In the NHL, the Canadiens and Capitals open up the night. Montreal starts Jakob Kubusch as they hit the ice without Patrik Laine. After that, Game 5 in the Battle of Florida goes down with the Cats up 3-1 on the Bolts before the Blues and Jets clash with the series tied at 2. In WHL action sees Gavin McKenna and his Tigers looking to sweep the Hurricanes while Spokane controls the Winterhawks 2-0 ahead of Game 3. Elsewhere, 2 teams are on the brink of elimination in basketball. Houston plays host to Golden State as the Rockets have to find a win to stay alive in Game 5, while LeBron James and his Lakers trail 3-1 to the T-Wolves. In baseball, Toronto and Boston rematch just after 5 o'clock with 3 games underway right now, seeing the Angels and Mariners locked at 3 in the 6th inning. I'm Zachary Kubusch. That was your sports update. The second hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
There is the Click Thumb remix. One of the greatest accomplishments of Zachary Kubusch during his time here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Good job, Koob.
was the hardest thing I've done this entire time here at EST. I've been here for a year, boys.
It's the only thing you had to focus on for more than 5 minutes, and you did well. Keep giving us that thumbs up on YouTube. We're at 179. Let's quickly get to 200, and then we'll see how high we can soar from there. Of course, Jay and I are coming to you from the Banquet Studio. Craving a late night snack? Check out the Banquet's new late night happy hour menu, Sunday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till close. Enjoy favorites like sweet and spicy lettuce wraps or the Banquet burger at happy hour prices. The Banquet, get real, play hard. So in Ice District Plaza there, you got the Banquet on the upper level, Canadian Ice House on the street level, so to speak, ground level. Tom Gazzola will be there tomorrow for the GCL Diesel pre- and post-game show for Game 6. I'll be dropping by as well, if I can find the place. And it'll be great. The Oilers trying to finish off the series. So what do we got tonight? We got Canadians facing elimination. We got Lightning facing elimination. And we got Blues and Jets Game 5. So that'll be an exciting night. Leafs and Senators tomorrow, one of the games. We're going to talk to Gord Stellick about that series. Quickly, though, with you, do you actually think the Leafs can blow this series? I do not. I think they'll win tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, but yes, I am. I do think they can because they have, right? Until you break that mold, or it's the same thing that Jets fans are worried about as well. Until you get over that hump. I mean, Toronto's had some miraculous, breakdown.
They've had some painful failures over the years.
Yeah, it's happened. So until that you can slay that dragon, or however you want to say it, then yeah, it has to. Of course, you have to think about that. Do I think it's going to happen though? I don't know. I mean, what's Ottawa got to lose, right? They're playing as footloose and fancy free as a team could. So who's to say they can't take this one at home in Game 6 and force a Game 7, and then it's anybody's game at that point, right? I'd say Toronto has to get it done in Ottawa tomorrow night to, they do not want to have a Game 7.
You don't want the lottery of the 7th game, as they say. Don't they say that, soccer commentators? And now it's the lottery of the penalty shootout. They make it sound totally random. And he's drawn a goal. He's drawn a miss, like darts. 140. 99. The cutoff was always 100. Because 180 is the perfect score, right, in darts? But I feel as if...
No, not 180. 180!
Yeah, if it's over 100, the guy's excited. If he's below 100, it's like, 101! 92. All right. We are going to dive into the Oil Understood. It is presented by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. All right, so the Oilers traveling back today from Los Angeles. Before they departed, head coach Chris Knobloch answered a few questions, and he had this to say about the team's resilience.
Shown that there's no quit in this team, whether that's Game 3 or Game 4, even Game 1 that we almost came back from. I think the guys have been sticking with the plan and working hard, and I think obviously last year's playoff run has had a tremendous effect on our team because of the adversity we hit and the stress of playing those games. And right now you can see it paying off with guys not getting flustered with the way things are going at certain points of the time. And you can even see in Game 5 where we played a really solid game, didn't have the results that we would have liked, but they stuck with it.
Well, he referenced last year's playoff run, Jay, and we know this is the oldest team in the league. And we know that even besides the sort of core Oilers, and I guess the four guys who've been there through everything in this era, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Nurse, there are many other players who have significant playoff games under their belts. Corey Perry leading the way. I mean, I think Kane is in that group. When Ekholm's healthy, Bouchard's now played a lot of playoff games. And the one thing that McDavid said after Game 4 was how they stuck with it in the third period, because that game wasn't going well. And let's face it, Jay, that could have been a night in which the Oilers said, well, they're kicking our butts tonight. I guess we'll be down 3-1, and let's start thinking about winning Game 5 in LA and trying to pull off this remarkable comeback. Instead, the Oilers got to it. And I think that's maybe a recognition of that maturity and of that belief and of that let's not let any opportunity slide. We can win tonight's game. Okay, let's not let it go by the wayside. Let's find a way back into this game. And look, if the Oilers win this series and maybe go deep into the playoffs, the 2 third periods in games 3 and 4, well, I think they've already entered Oilers legend. Because, there are the Cujo save and the Todd Marchant goal from years in which the Oilers did not win the Stanley Cup. They only won a round. But if the Oilers win this series, we've certainly, the Hiller challenge and the turn that presented in that game will be an Oilers legend. And then the third period of Game 4 will be part of Oilers legend with the comeback and the late Bouchard goal. But again, this is one of the things I've been talking about, and I know it's tense, and I know nothing is for sure, but appreciate what this team can do. Appreciate some of the performances they've had in the playoffs recently. I look back, speaking of last season, they were down 2-1 to Dallas. Game 3 on home ice didn't go particularly well, and then they trailed Dallas 2-0 in the first period of Game 4. Now, I know there was a lot of game left in that game, but it didn't look good early. And then Bouchard scored, and then Draisaitl and Janmark got big goals in the second period, and the Oilers turned it around and won that game. And then Game 5 in Dallas played maybe their best game of the postseason last year, where they didn't give the Stars much, and then obviously closed it out Game 6 at home, largely on the backs of Stuart Skinner. So I'm just saying, I often talk about figure it out, stay with it. The Oilers are that team. Now, they're not the only team in the playoffs can do that. If they advance, they're going to play other teams who can do that. But they are that team. And I wonder, too, well, maybe you'll want to answer this more later.
What?
But I can't help but wonder, even though I always say, remember how good the opponent is. Remember they have experienced players. In the LA Kings case, you have players who have won the Stanley Cup more than once, right? I know it was a while ago, but it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how they're feeling now. Because they hit the Oilers with their best punch and still lost 2 of those games and almost lost another one. And now the Oilers hit them with their best punch, and without their goaltender, they would have been blown out. Now, the goalie's part of the team. But I talk a lot about belief and doubt. And I just wonder, is there a little bit of doubt now in the LA Kings psyche?
I don't know how there can't be. I mean, they're not robots. They've seen what's happened. They've seen this series leaving the grasp of their hand, the clutch of their hand. They had it.
Right.
And now to be down 1 game going back to Edmonton, I honestly, I don't know how they can overcome it. Now, maybe they will and come up with a different effort, but what is this team now? The LA Kings. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. It's changed so much throughout the series. But look at what the Oilers have done. There was only 1 player on the Oilers last night that was held without a shot.
Yeah.
Vasily Podkolzin.
And he assisted on the game winner.
Everybody else was, I mean, that's the takeaway, I think, of when this team's rolling, when this team is in control. Because you can say all you want. That team was in control of that game from the puck drop at 8:20.
Yeah.
They were. Now, a bounce here, a bounce there, and LA gets a goal and it's a different game. Who knows? But the Oilers deserved to win that game, and they did. But that team was playing as a team. All 4 lines were rolling. Everybody's contributing. Hits. I mean, it was a physical game. Evander Kane. I mean, you could go down the list of names, which we will as we continue. But that was a team that looks dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a team that Oilers fans have been waiting for since September, right? Really?
That's a good point.
They have.
Well, Kane's been excellent. And look, it's on the record several times. I had no idea what to expect from Kane. I wasn't even sure he was going to play this season. quite frankly. So he came back in game 2, and he's gotten better with each game. And I got to think, watched it last night, I rewatched it a couple times today. The Kane goal, that was such an awesome combination by everybody on the ice of hard work and skill. Like I remember, when the Oilers were bad, when they had Hall and Eberle and Nuge, right? Magnus Piarve, and Rob and I would get calls. Well, they got skill, but they don't work hard. They should just get a bunch of muckers. And it's like, well, okay, but the muckers don't score much, right? You got to have both. And just rewatching that goal, Kane around the net, Hyman around the net. Also, again, Kemper dropping a puck. As well as he played, he still doesn't always catch that great. Keeping the puck alive. And then the puck went to the blue line. And the LA players coming out of the penalty box, and the LA winger is like two guys were converging on Klingberg. And Klingberg didn't just keep the puck in. Because in that situation, I'm thinking, just hack it down low.
Yeah.
Don't let LA
push
get
it
a break.
into the corner. Yeah.
And this is what you got to appreciate about the skilled players, and I know sometimes like with Bouchard, it's like, well, why did he try that? Well, even though it's frustrating, he tries it because he can do it. And Klingberg in that situation, okay, was it a little risky? Yeah, that puck could have been bobbled and it's a 2 or 3 on 1 for LA, but he made the play, got it in the high slot to Kane, who had just been mucking around down low and doing all that kind of work. And then he gets it in the high slot. And yes, I think it ticked, it might have been Gavrikov on the way in, but still had to make a good, quick shot that was going to be challenging for Kemper to stop. And they finished the play. LA was up 1-0, even though the Oilers were playing them. But that was such a big goal, because when Kane got that goal, it was like, it's going to pay off. Yeah. The Oilers probably already believed, but I would think with the fan base, it was just like, okay, there's the breakthrough goal. Maybe Kemper's got the type and is having the type of night where we're going to have to get 3 chances to score a goal as opposed to 1 for 1. But when Kane got that in, and that was just such a playoff goal.
Yes.
Keep digging, never give up. Give it,
pucks on net.
And then, keep that puck in at the blue line, win that battle, make that skilled play, and then Kane finishes. Do you want to talk about the other goal too?
Well, I think we have to. Yeah.
Let's do it now.
Yeah. I asked you as soon as we came in. Well, not as soon. I mean, we had to talk about real life things like your eye. But once that all got sorted out and we hugged and it was all over, then I asked you specifically on the game winner, on Janmark's goal, did you notice after the goal was scored, did you notice the elation from the players that were on the ice at that time? And you went back and watched it, and the look on your face was just filled with joy, because you could quickly understand A, how much that goal meant, B, that this was not just a typical, oh wow, you got a great rebound and put it in the back of the net. This was something that I don't know if you could deny it, that they had clearly talked about. That Arvidsson and Janmark, they had known Arvidsson does not shoot this to score.
Yeah.
This is a shot directed at Kemper's glove to be sprung out to Janmark for the easy goal on the rebound.
Yeah.
And for the reaction that they gave was just the icing on the cake for Oilers fans to say, yes, it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked in the best moment. And I just thought that was really unique to see. Because earlier in the season, you were kind of hard on Brant Clark for scoring what appeared to be the Stanley Cup winning goal.
I couldn't help it.
But this one here, I think, was just it came out of hard work and determination for this line.
Yeah,
right. And I thought it was unique. What were your thoughts?
I'm glad you noticed that. And then we both watched it again, and I noticed Janmark's celebration, but then I also noticed Podkolzin immediately turned and went to Arvidsson as well. So even though Janmark was the goal scorer, both Janmark and Podkolzin go to Arvidsson, almost as if he was the goal scorer. And I'm with you, Jay. Now, I know, of course, they're like, what are you guys talking about? That's hockey. Yes, of course, get the puck to the net and try and score on a rebound. But I wonder if that line specifically said, okay, we're not going to play as much. Who are we?
Yeah.
Now, regardless of Arvidsson's history, and we know, he didn't score as much as we would have liked during the season. And I know people, well, I think less people now laugh at Janmark. Hopefully no one's laughing after 2 goals already in this series. But it's almost like that line said, okay, if we get it across the blue line, give the puck to a winger and the other 2 guys go to the net. And if Arvidsson, as we know, Jay, because you and I have talked about this, oftentimes when he shoots, he just blasts. Like he just shoots hard and he misses the net.
Yeah.
And that one might have been going wide, but Kemper had to play it. And you even see on his windup, he didn't take a full slap shot. It was almost as if he was guiding the puck to hit a pad or hit the blocker. And then Janmark goes, and it almost like they almost look like little kids, like, oh, it worked. It worked. Remember, Billy, I told you to do that. Nice net drive, Jablonski. You know, like,
but look how wide Janmark stays, right? Podkolzin's driving the center. Janmark should be coming in hard on that to get to a rebound that should be in Kemper's pads. But yet he decides to stay well far off outside.
Yeah.
So that rebound off the blocker, he knew that was going to come out there
Yeah.
You know, he didn't know, but he wanted to be in the position to execute the play that they had predetermined that play. They had practiced that play.
Yeah.
100%.
And I mean, again, to harp on one of the stories of this series, the Oilers' 4th line gets the game-winning goal. The LA Kings' 4th line once again plays 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the player. You know, we don't see a lot of them.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
We're going to talk about that because Jay is fired up. That's the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel. If you are tuning in, don't forget, you can email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, Jay at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can text 780-218-9999. That is the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant. All you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. And if you're taking us in on YouTube with the video feed going as well, we thank you for that. Subscribe to the station. You can post your thoughts and chat with us, and more importantly, with each other in the Nasty Chat, and click away at that thumbs up button as we are within half a dozen of 200, and then we'll keep building from there. But really good participation.
Would you say, like, could you give like a yar? You know, for the
you know what I could give.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's David Lee Roth as a pirate.
That's David Lee Roth when he realizes they're holding like a torch to his his feet to get him to walk the plank, and he's like, "Hey, ow!"
All right, more on Jim Hiller and Gord Stellick coming up.
Elks 10th overall pick, Darien Newell, has received a 1-year suspension for violating the CFL substance policy, with the Elks being fully aware of his impending suspension before selecting him in the 2nd round last night. Meanwhile, the Elks have signed American offensive lineman Will Marotta after he spent the last 5 years at the University of Albany. Down south, the Bills have signed former Browns receiver Elijah Moore to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. And 2 teams are up against the wall entering Game 5 in the NHL. The Bolts trail the Panthers 3-1, while the Caps can take the Habs in 5. Montreal is without Patrick Laine and Sam Montembeault tonight, getting Jakob Kubusch to start in the net. Elsewhere, the Blues and Jets go head-to-head with the series tied at 2 apiece. And just a pair of games dot the NBA slate. The Rockets look to stay alive against the Warriors with a win in Game 5, while the Timberwolves need just 1 win against the Lakers to make it to round 2. And in baseball, the Jays meet the Red Sox just after 5 o'clock. Right now, the Mariners have a 7-3 lead over the Angels in the 7th inning. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, they got plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. We have a brief intermission before we come back with more on the Reid Wilkins Show. I'm Zachary Kubusch. And you're up to date.
Some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus, shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
Craving a late night snack? Hit the Banquet for our new late night happy hour. Sunday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till close. Try favorites like sweet and spicy lettuce wraps or our Banquet burger and fries, all at happy hour prices. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
Your home for great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
My mother used to let us not lock the doors. She's like, if you're locking the doors inside of the house, it means you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, that's why we lock the doors.
Host of the Bad Friends and Whiskey Ginger podcast, don't miss Andrew Santino, Freeze Peach, live at the River Cree May 22nd.
Michael, what are you doing? We have locks on the outside of the house to keep criminals from coming inside. There's no criminals inside of this house. Yes, there are, Karen.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. Excitement, bet on it.
And there they go to Sentinel Storage. The snowblower and winter gear goes in. They shoot, we store.
Need extra space? Store your winter gear with Sentinel Storage and win extra space at home. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca. Proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers.
All right, hope you're having a wonderful day. Jason Milne, back from vacuuming. Well, you really left these cleaning duties to the last minute, eh?
Well, what's the point of cleaning? So it's my month to clean.
Well, I'll be cleaning more than once.
I have been.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I have been, but I wanted to do one last good vacuum.
So have you vacuumed before today?
Yes.
When did you do it?
It was in the morning.
I wasn't in yet.
I used that vacuum. Might have been
Didn't you
after
bring
a
in
show.
your own vacuum because you're so disgusted by the vacuum that Matthew has given us?
Well, I brought in the cordless one, just so, maybe somebody, Dusty or Maddie, could see how easy it is to use, and that we could just use it every day.
Right.
If we had a cordless vacuum here, we'd vacuum all the time. The EVT. Edmonton Vacuum Talk.
That
doesn't make any sense.
Wouldn't suck. That's for sure. Okay, so the Oilers traveling today. Game tomorrow, 8 o'clock at Rogers Place. They'll host the Los Angeles Kings in Game 6. So here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Of course, as every day, our live programming starts at 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show. We'll extend this show by half an hour, which is what we've been doing for the 8 o'clock games. So that'll be on until 6:30 p.m. And then Tom and Hernan will take over the stream with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. They'll go until 8, and then they'll be on after the game as well. Hopefully, we'll be saying after the series, as the Oilers have a chance to wrap it up tomorrow. We were talking about John Klingberg, who has looked very good, if not great, in these playoffs after sort of stumbling through the regular season and some injuries after he was signed. Here's head coach Chris Knobloch on Klingberg.
Absolutely, and he tells us this is the best he's felt. When he came back, there was a little glitch, maybe not 100%, playing through, and hopefully he'd get stronger. Took some time off, and now he's just whether it's the treatments or whatever it was, feeling like he's more the way he wants to feel. And anytime a player feels comfortable with their body, their surroundings, their partner, whatever it is, ultimately they're going to play better. And I think right now he feels comfortable with what he's doing.
All right. I think Klingberg has looked quite comfortable, quite frankly. He looked very good. Very good with the puck. I think Wallman's play throughout the series has also improved. So they're looking pretty solid on the back end. Troy Stetcher, by the way, is healthy. But I guess now Klingberg is doing what we thought he would do during the regular season, and that is making Stetcher the 7th D. Now, when he was signed, Ekholm was healthy and Wallman wasn't on the team.
That's right.
But, anyway, pretty good stuff there from Klingberg. Time to get fired up for Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years, the authorized dealer for Napoleon Fireplaces. Whether it's gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street.
Yeah, Reid. I look, we've talked about the LA Kings coach, Jim Hiller. More than enough, or more than we should. But that's a problem. You should not be talking about the head coach of your hockey team this much. Now, obviously, we talk about Knobloch because he's giving quotes and he's talking about the game leading up to the game. But we should not be talking about Jim Hiller at all. The fact that we are makes me fired up for Oilers fans. Because this guy cannot seem to get out of his own way. I don't know what it is. I don't know what his thought process is. But he took one of his best forwards, a forward who, by the way, steps on the ice and puts the fear of God into Oilers fans in Adrian Kempe.
Right.
He is an Oilers slayer. He has been for the last 3 years in the playoffs. And he was doing damage in this series. I'm going to take him and throw him on defense. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm smarter than everybody else. I just don't get it. But for Oilers fans, you know, because Maddie and I talked about this yesterday, and Maddie even said, no, there's no way he's going to do this again. And this he was referring to was the complete shutdown of his fourth line and one or two defensemen in the final, what turned out to be 40 minutes of that overtime game. Right?
Yeah.
Well, he did it again. And you cannot depend on these. They're not robots. They're gonna get gassed. And they just had nothing at the end. Did you notice at the end of the game, they weren't really able to click LA? They had great possession when they pulled their goaltender. They had a solid minute in the Oilers zone. Passes were missed. They weren't tape to tape. They weren't as sharp as they would be. Well, yeah, you're asking players that have been out there for far too long to carry the load. So I am fired up that Jim Hiller cannot get out of his own way. Thoughts?
Well, I was surprised to see Kempe on defense. I mean, I guess on one hand, it's desperate times. And you are down a goal and you're trying to put as many offensive players on the ice as you can. But you're also then asking a guy to possibly defend. There was a play when Hyman went in on Kempe.
Yeah.
And Louis DeBrusque praised how Kempe defended him. But Nugent Hopkins almost scored. I mean, that was one of Kempe. He made a lot of good saves. That one would probably be in the top 8. Like, Hyman drove wide. Hyman centered the puck as Kempe kind of pushed down on his pads and cross-checked him to the ice, which I have seen call the penalty, by the way. And Kemper made a great save. I understand what Louis was saying about him forcing Kempe wide, but if Nugent Hopkins finishes that, which he was close to doing, then it's probably like, well, Kempe drove him wide, but couldn't keep the puck from going to the front of the net. Killer. Okay, would we be talking about him so much? Okay, can I just say something here?
Yeah.
He has rubbed you the wrong way since the first time you heard his voice.
The way he spoke, not like how he looks or his actual voice, but what he says, yes. I find him to be very arrogant. And especially after the Game 2 victory in LA.
Which is that one availability you and I really listened to together.
Yeah, I couldn't believe a coach in the NHL was talking this way, not after winning the series or winning a Stanley Cup, after winning Game 2, in which you have to go play 2 games at Edmonton. And oh, by the way, they haven't really played that well. And you're standing up there in front of the media, talking like, essentially the series is over. I didn't get it. And that, yes, it did rub me the wrong way. So have I maybe been a little bit paying more attention to what he's saying
and doing.
Possibly, right? And doing. But no, the truth of the matter, and maybe this isn't all on Jim Hiller. Maybe this is organizational as well, in which he wasn't supplied with the right players to be able to carry and run 4 lines.
Maybe.
Okay, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, but it's not working. And for Oilers fans, it's been working in their favor.
Yeah. I mean, like Smitty the Welder says, it's ice time. However you can get him out there. Fair enough.
That is fair, sure.
And he pulled the goalie with what I think 3:38 left.
Yep.
In a 1-goal deficit. And I thought, you know what? Good for you. Put pressure on the Oilers. You have fewer than 20 shots on goal playing 5-on-5 most of the game. Increase your odds of tying the game. So I thought good for Hiller for making an early pull in that game. And it's not as if the Oilers immediately scored an empty netter. I mean, the Kings did have the puck, though I don't know if they had a grade A chance with the goalie on the bench, but I can understand what Hiller is thinking in that situation. I was surprised he put Kempe at defense, especially still with about 10 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have other defensemen who are supposed to be able to play. I mean, Brant Clark, right? My buddy got to play a little bit more. But I think the main thing for Hiller, his deployment of players is going to be picked apart because he hasn't used the 4th line, right? Like if he put Kempe out on defense and he'd been using all his other players and is still down 2-1, maybe then you're saying, okay, the guys who are supposed to be doing the job aren't doing the job. So now he has to ask a guy to do something outside of his job. But it's already like he's overplaying some of the top guys, and now he's putting one of them out of position. It's maybe a little more open for criticism.
Absolutely. And criticism, you say, huh? You know who else should be open for criticism, Reid?
You want me to do this right now?
Yeah.
We got time?
Yeah.
Koob, do you have the Byfield play? I'm just stunned at this. And look, if the Oilers would have lost the game, it wouldn't have been why they lost. I'm not saying the Oilers.
Oh, it would have been a story.
It would have been a story.
Much more of a bigger story.
I am just stunned that Quinton Byfield can blatantly go against the rules of the NHL, and Kendrick Nicholson, an NHL ref, can stand right behind the net and watch it happen and not do anything. Like, if you're on YouTube, he's in position to see where this puck is. Now, I went and clarified the rule because, again, the rule book is online, everybody. It's not hard to find. Quinton Byfield basically shoves the puck with his hand under his body, okay? Here's the rule. If a defending player, except a goalie, while play is in progress, falls on the puck, holds the puck, picks up the puck, or gathers the puck into his body or hands from the ice in the goal crease area, the play shall be stopped immediately, and a penalty shot shall be awarded to the non-offending team. This is a textbook player. Okay, so maybe he doesn't put his hand on the puck, but that certainly falls into the category of gathering the puck into his body, which is what he does. And the referee is right there and says that's not a penalty shot. I don't know what argument Kendrick Nicholson could make as to why he didn't call that. If he says he didn't see it, then I would question his eyesight from that distance. If he saw it and then just didn't call it, then he's not a competent official. I don't know how more plainly to say that. And Byfield probably takes away a goal because who was it, Hyman or Kane, is somebody's going to push the puck in. So the Oilers should have got a penalty shot in this situation. And I think I would say this even if an Oiler player had done this. This is a blatant, it's shocking that wasn't called. The guys on the TV panel were like, yeah, that's a penalty. It wasn't even like, oh, maybe this. No, there's no maybe. That's a blatant penalty shot. And that doesn't happen that often where a player is called for covering the puck or gathering the puck in the crease. It's very frustrating that that's not called. And that's why fans get angry.
Yes.
That's why fans write in or to shows like this one and say the refereeing sucks. Because I often say, hey, sometimes it doesn't. But I do think it's been bad and certainly below standard in the playoffs. Like, again, just call it. Just call the obvious stuff.
The obvious stuff.
Right.
And then the big stuff.
And so then because the obvious stuff isn't called, then fans start complaining about the 50-50 stuff. Because if the obvious stuff is called, then fans are going to say, hey, you know what? Maybe that was 50-50. I'm seeing it through the glasses of my team, but they're calling the obvious stuff. What can I do? it's just, to me, that's frustrating. I know the job is, here's the thing. I know NHL officiating is hard. I do want to point that out. But making that call shouldn't be hard. If there's a borderline slash or trip and you don't call it, I can say, well, okay, I'm going to trust the ref because he's been calling the obvious stuff. That's an obvious penalty shot.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I know you say the referee was right there and could see it, but Kemper was blocking him coming into it, and maybe by the time he got there, right?
Here's my prediction.
Okay.
That will be added to something that's reviewable this summer.
Sure.
Because you can't challenge that. The way I understand it, you can't challenge that as a missed stoppage. I will predict that this summer, just because of that one play, that will be added to something challengeable. So the Oilers then could have said, that's a missed penalty shot. That player illegally played the puck in his own goal crease or touched the puck, whatever, in his own goal crease. You're going to be able to challenge that. That's how I think the NHL will react to this. Because as we know, it can be one play, like the Duchesne offside from several years ago, and they'll overhaul the offside challenge. So I think they will add that specifically to a list of challengeable plays. That's my prediction.
What if they take away the usage of black gloves?
All right.
Just saying, maybe they got lost in the gloves.
Great storylines with the Oilers. We still have a couple more clips from Knobloch we want to get to. A big storyline going on in the Leafs Senators series. We'll dive into that with Gord Stellick when we get back.
After being picked 10th overall by the Elks at the CFL draft yesterday, defensive lineman Darien Newell has been banned for 1 year for breaking the CFL's drug policy. The Elks released a statement regarding the situation, stating that the franchise was well aware that Newell was set to be suspended prior to drafting him. And there's a trio of games around the NHL. Washington hosts Montreal in Game 5. The Habs are on the brink of elimination. They're without Patrik Laine, naming Jakob Kubusch as the starter tonight with Sam Montembeault unavailable. After that, the Bolts hope to stay alive. They're down 3-1 to the Panthers as St. Louis battles Winnipeg, with that series now a best of 3. On the court, the Lakers fight for their playoff lives as they're down 3-1 against the T-Wolves, while the Warriors tip off with the Rockets as Golden State has a chance to take the series in 5. And baseball sees tons of action, including the Jays and Red Sox rematching just after 5 o'clock. Right now, there's 4 games ongoing, including the Padres holding the Giants 5-3 in the top of the 9th inning. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Visit findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. We check in on the Sens Leafs series once we get back from break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
Downsizing, upsizing, or staging your home to sell? Sentinel Storage is Edmonton's team for affordable storage solutions. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Sentinel Storage, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Okay, appreciate you tuning in, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Oilers can wrap it up tomorrow night. Big one, Game 6 against the Los Angeles Kings. This show will be extended until 6:30, and then we have the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas from 6:30 to 8. Tom will be live at the Canadian Ice House. Postgame show from there as well. I'll join him for my Reid's Read postgame hit presented by the Edmonton Garrison Memorial Golf and Curling Club, as things have changed a lot in oil country since they fell behind 2-0 in the series. Jay Milne and I coming to you from the Banquet Studio. Spin to win Fridays at the Banquet. Spin the wheel for a chance to win big and save on your bill. Details at thebanquetbar.com. Well, speaking of changes in series, let's discuss one of them. I'm always happy to catch up with Gord Stellick from Sirius XM and Sportsnet 590 in Toronto. Gord, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Reid and Jay. And yeah, like you said, a lot of different narratives have happened just in a matter of a few days.
Let's start with, were you on when I was somewhat ranting about the penalty shot? And if so, am I justified or should I quit whining?
A little bit of both. I see your point. I know, it's funny, the Matt Duchene played, we talked about the egregious missing of an offside, and then it's come down to like a photo finish at a racetrack. So they had to add a penalty, so you just couldn't call them all the time. But I think a penalty shot is a significant play. I don't mind more things being added, because you know what? We have the technology, and let's get the call right. Everybody else knows, and even the referees, I think, would appreciate being able to use the technology. Ever since that schmozzle a few years ago between San Jose and Vegas in the playoffs, and now they have the right to review things, has really taken away of all that. So yes, I'm not going to fly and be in the front row when you lobby for it, if whatever may be, but I'll fill out basically, what do you call it? Say I'm supporting if you want.
You support my petition. Yeah.
Petition. That's it. Yes. Yes.
I appreciate that. All right. Let's dive into the series that I'm sure is consuming much of your professional life. Look, the Leafs are up 3-2. You want to be up, don't you? Don't you want to be up in the series?
Yeah.
Or how's everybody dealing with a 3-2 lead?
Well, that's what Craig Berube said. He said, if you asked me, anyone at the start of the series or playoffs, if you like being up 3-2, of course we would. First, I love the fact that nobody's got swept in 4. I think that's just great. The first round of the NHL playoffs, all the West are tied 2-2. But how I look at it, I mean, you're talking about the Edmonton-LA thing. And the LA team has body parts tightening quite a bit. Winnipeg, after tonight, we'll see what happens, because they're sort of facing that momentum. Toronto, it's a lighter thing. I kind of compared it, Reid and Jay, that, if you're in a relationship, you get that thing that your partner says, I want to leave you. Well, that's rather dramatic. But the next step below that is the 4 dreaded words, we need to talk, right? Because then you get all kinds of anxiety. And I think Leaf fans right now, until Game 6 plays itself out, are kind of starting to, they've seen this too often, but got to chill, got to maintain your confidence, and hope that's the way the players feel on the ice.
What I was hoping to, and I always say this to Oilers fans, like, you got to acknowledge the other team. I mean, Ottawa, they went to overtime, 3 consecutive games, and the Leafs won the first 2. So, and I often say how good athletes are at selling it to themselves that they're right in it. So the Leafs can say whatever they want, but Ottawa is sitting there saying, hey guys, like, we're one shot away from maybe being up 3-2 or having won the series 4-1. Ottawa is sort of a new playoff team and sort of just this generation of players. How have they handled these big moments in this series so far?
Yeah, Reid, that's a real good point because big time. They played really well. Only the first game was a blowout, and you get 3 games to go to overtime. I'm glad they didn't get swept in 4 because getting swept in 4 is just a really bad taste to end the season. So now they are the overused term playing with house money, but they really are. There aren't many teams that are playing with house money. I mean, nobody, Edmonton, LA is. What Montreal would be if they come back against Washington. Tampa Bay's not playing with house money against Florida. So you never know. Like you get a hot goaltender and you get that and all of a sudden, ouch. But to your point, yes, the Ottawa Senators, it's been a great story for them getting back in the playoffs. And they really, really, after game 1, figured it out and have battled hard. They put up a hell of a fight.
Gord Stellick joining us here on the Reid Wilkins Show on Edmonton Sports Talk. Gord, I'm going to ask you something you've probably heard a lot in the last couple of days. You're probably sick of it, but the number 1 in 13, which is the amount of playoff series clinching games the Leafs have, the record for the Leafs in playoff series clinching games in the Austin Matthews era. Is this something that's, in Edmonton, we have Connor McDavid that you'd look to and say, okay, put this team on your shoulders, put this team on your back. Is Austin Matthews the guy in Toronto that Leafs fans are looking at to answer that and get over that hump? I mean, I saw a Mitch Marner jersey being burnt by some goofball the other day. So is Austin Matthews the guy that's got to step up and lead this team?
Well, they made him captain. I think it kind of mirrored what Edmonton did with Connor McDavid. But, Jay, I'll say it's the 3. I know it's a big 4, but you had Nylander, Marner, Matthews. And, I was talking about it on NHL Morning Skate, just that there's certain records like Ovi, that's great, the all-time record. Other things, Connor McDavid's, all those stats. But certain things defy logic. And I remember last year, the Penguins had a good power play this past season. But remember the year before, they went something like 80 straight minutes and they hadn't scored a power play goal? Like that great Pittsburgh Penguin team, a game and a third. That's one of those that just, never mind numbers, made no sense. This makes no sense. 1 in 13. Are you serious? Are you serious? It just defies logic. And to your point, you can talk about the goaltending is better, the D's better, the coaching change, all these things. It'll come down to the big players, like has happened in Edmonton, delivering where they have not in the playoffs before. Once again, that's the same story. And you got 1 game or possibly 2, hopefully not 2 if you're a Leaf fan. But that's exactly, 14 times they've been able to close out a playoff series. Like win a playoff series, and it's 1 and 13. That's beyond belief.
I guess a few game 7s in there. Many of them again. Were they up 3-1 on Boston that one year? I can't remember.
They were up 3-2 on Boston 3-2. 1 year. They were up 3-1 on Montreal 1 year.
Oh, that year, right? Yeah.
And then it all just, it's like a bad dream, really, whatever it is. It's like an accident scene. You don't want to keep recreating it, but well, they weren't all game 7s.
But it's like you brought up though, because when when the playoffs got started, we were talking about other series, and I said, like, don't sleep on the Leafs because this isn't. Yes, they have their core 4, and I guess here in Edmonton, we call it the McDavid, Draisaitl era, and Nuge and Nurse have been on all these teams since 2017 as well. But I was saying, Berube makes a difference. I think, and I'm curious to get your position on this. I think Treleving's made a huge difference because I think he's beefed up that team personally. And I still think that that's going to serve them well in game 6. And if they needed game 7, like I don't think you can compare this Leafs team, even though that record is there you were just talking about. I don't think it's directly comparable, but I'm on the outside. You're much closer to it.
Oh, big time. Brad Treliving's done a great job. Like, Reid and Jay, you look at it like you don't want white noise. Okay. I've been with an organization that had a lot of white noise at times. And I know it's a cop-out excuse, but look at the New York Rangers last year. It matters. And when you have that kind of stuff off the ice, it's indicative that things just aren't right. You gotta be all hands on deck, okay, in the 32-team modern-day NHL. So the Leafs had, you look historically, Mike Babcock got out-coached by Bruce Cassidy early on because he was going to play his veterans and Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, he's going to play Thomas Plekanec and Patrick Marleau ahead of them. You had another one where Babcock made it clear at the end of the year that Kyle Dubas wasn't his GM. So you waste a playoff there. You had the Houdini Kyle Dubas escape plan the other time. Like your post game's about a young GM talking about how terrible a GM job is and the pressure, and he's already got his setup, in Pittsburgh probably to go. So you had a lot of that stuff. So at least now you've got all hands on deck. You got a president in Keith Belly that at least last year it was made accountable, and Sheldon Keefe, to his credit, made it accountable. Like, this isn't good enough. We can't keep saying every year we're going to just keep going at it and going at it. So Brad Treliving, in a very quiet way, I give him huge marks for the job he's done in Toronto.
Okay, you made a reference there to a past coach and his player usage, so I'll end there to tie it back to the LA Edmonton series again, because you're a little more outside, and I don't know if you're with your hours if you stay up to the end of every LA Edmonton game, but I know you know what's going on. What do you make of how Hiller basically doesn't use the bottom pairing and the fourth line? And then Jay and I were talking about before you came on, to extrapolate that, then he puts Kempe on defense. Granted, when you're looking for a goal, but still you're using Kempe on defense. How do you look at some of the deployment by Hiller?
Yeah, Reid, I haven't watched any games. I PVR'd them all, so I don't like. What's your series at?
Right now? I'll text you when it's over, so you can watch all the games. Yeah.
Okay. No, I've been loving these games. This series is crazy. I love the Edmonton LA games. Like, this is helter skelter. This is every series takes a certain narrative, and I got to tell you, because with Edmonton, the depth pieces weren't clicking all year. But granted, they had a lot of injuries. I mean, Arvidsson was hurt a ton, but you're trying to, get Skinner in and all the others. And of course, you lost Fogle and Holloway and, different players like that. So Edmonton was the one I thought that if you looked at the box score, there's Draisaitl, McDavid, say, playing 33 minutes and, guys getting 4 minutes. So I kind of was caught by surprise going, where do these depth issues come for LA? I don't know. I just hadn't thought of it, right? So certainly it's like anything. If you win, shortening the bench is great. Then if you don't, it's problematic. And, you're going back to the Leafs, and I'm giving Sheldon Keefe a positive for that, but I can remember they were talking about when Tampa Bay beat Toronto in 7 games, and that game 7 a couple of years ago, because I know a guy that's a camera guy for that, in close NHL playoff stuff they do. And John Cooper kept saying to his team, they're going to get tired. They're going to get tired. Keep rolling the lines. Keep rolling the lines. Like, he kept rolling 4 lines or 3.5. And the Leafs were, playing Marner and Matthews 32 minutes trying to get it. So I still always think, particularly in the playoffs, you can play a stud D a lot, okay? But you really can't play 4. You got to get 3.5 lines anyway going, or 3 3/4 lines going. So that caught me by surprise. And then when you go into overtime, that just adds to it. And, man, playoffs, man, these guys are giving it. Like, these guys are giving it. All 16 teams, you got players there. They leave nothing. This is not regular season. Every year we got to be reminded that this is not regular season when you begin of your first of possibly 28 playoff games. It ain't even close.
Yeah. Gord, we always love having you on. You're always great about getting back to me. I just love talking hockey with you. You got such great insight. I know you're incredibly busy, so thanks for fitting us in here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll talk down the road. Enjoy the mania that is the Battle of Ontario, my friend.
Okay, and send me the petition. I haven't signed a petition for a while. That's why I had a hard time thinking of the word. So I will sign your petition.
Yeah, I'll mail it to you. Old-fashioned mail.
Okay.
You'll get it in 2027.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It'd be nice not to get a bill for a change. So I look forward to that.
Right. There we go. Okay.
Anyway, take care, Reid. Take care, Jay.
Right on. That is Gord Stellick filling in our Voices of the Game segment for Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated since 1993. We're more than just plywood. We offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. With a huge selection of hardwoods and knowledgeable staff, we're here for all your DIY needs. Windsor Plywood Leduc, the experts you need to know.
Can I say something about Windsor Plywood Leduc?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jason from Windsor Plywood Leduc, huge nasty member number 128. He sent this note in today to EST. Hey guys, just had a great interaction. I had a gentleman and his daughter come into the store. Another one of my sales staff was assisting him. I overheard him say, Reid Wilkins sent me in. So I interjected and said that I was glad my advertising was working. We started chatting and I asked he asked if I was a nasty, and of course I am. And he asked what handle I was. I just said I used my nasty number, nasty 128, because somebody already uses Jason from Leduc, who chimes in quite regularly. Turns out the gentleman he was talking to was Jason from Leduc. So that was an interesting of nasties meeting of nasties in the wild. Jason, thank you. And if you guys need anything
If you're out in that area, or if you just want to go out there and support somebody that supports EST, go visit Windsor Plywood Leduc. The Windsor Plywood are great. They're family run. They're not a chain. They are individually family owned. So go see Jason out at Windsor Plywood Leduc. Thank you for sending that in. That means a lot.
And great to have Gord on the show. We love Gord. Like one of those guys, like he's easy to listen to.
Oh,
he
yeah.
knows what he's talking about. He's got an opinion, but he doesn't hit you over the head with it. He backs up the facts. I think I picked Leafs in 7. I think you took Leafs in 6. I didn't bring our picks in. We both took the Leafs. But I did say this. I said the Leafs are going to be challenged by the Senators, and it'll do them good in the long run. That's still possible. A lot of my picks aren't possible.
Yes. One of mine is,
actually, most of my winners are possible.
One of mine's not. It's out.
Unfortunately for you.
Yeah,
the one team that's been, but you stood by New Jersey. But he did say what I've been saying. The Leafs are built a little differently with Trey Living at the helm. So we'll see if interesting storyline. I just got
go ahead.
Okay, I got a message here from Johnny from Australia.
Okay.
Hi, Reid. I'm from Australia. I spent years listening to your Oilers post games on Ched and followed you over to EST. I also had retinal detachment surgery not long ago and some issues in my other eye. Listening to the Oilers and you boys on EST got me through a tough period and gave me something to look forward to. All the best with your recovery, mate. I hope it goes well. Well, I appreciate that. And got somebody tuning in from Australia. And Rob and I found that over the years. I'm sure Dusty and everybody else, like Australia, there's a lot of transplanted Canadians there, right? Or Canadians who might go there for a while, who take their Oilers passion down there. So that's really cool to get those types of messages.
Very well said. And we've got a limerick. Koob, do you want to try? I don't know if I left you too high and dry. It's okay. Okay. So, we're getting a lot of limericks coming in the form of pirate speak. So although I'm not going to, it might take a little bit of navigation, but we're going to try this. Give me some volume there, Koob. Okay, this comes in from Jeff and YYZ. To eye-patched Reid, hello, matey. His grit and performance so greaty. Oilers go for their loot. Game 6, Kings get the boot. Edmonton will be celebrating.
You actually sound a lot like JP, the guy who used to call into Overtime Overline.
Oh, really?
The French accent. You're a very francophone pirate.
Well, yeah, sure. That's
why
okay.
not? Well, any nation can have pirates. We got to catch up on limericks, and you said some other texts we got to catch up on.
There's been
just
so
a
many.
potpourri of
Yeah,
the variety of
potpourri.
topics we've talked about. So we want to get to some of that audience interaction. The River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, 780-218-9999. Here's the 5 o'clock break.
The EST Hangout.
For the first 4 games, I think LA carried the series. But yesterday, that was like completely flipped upside down. One, the Kings looked tired. When you're rolling 9 forwards and 4 or 5 defensemen, that plays a part for sure. And then the Oilers, they consistently are getting better and better and better. And now they're starting to get a little chemistry on these lines, and they look a little good.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Spin to win Fridays at the Banquet. Every Friday, spin the wheel for a chance to win big and save on your bill. It's that easy. Spin, win, and save. Don't miss out. Details at thebanquetbar.com. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Elks 10th overall pick Darien Newell has received a 1-year suspension for violating the CFL's substance abuse policy, with the Elks being fully aware of his impending suspension before selecting him in the second round last night. And Edmonton has made a move, signing American offensive lineman Will Morato after he spent the last 5 years at the University of Albany. And first round playoff action continues in the NHL. From Winnipeg, the Jets take on the Blues, tied at 2. Entering Game 5, the Canadiens challenge the Capitals, fighting to stay alive, down 3-1. Having Jakob Kubusch take the crease, while the defending champions in Florida can punch their ticket to the second round in Game 5 against the Lightning. In basketball sees 2 games. The Lakers trail 3-1 to the Timberwolves, while Golden State can take Houston in 5 games. The Warriors-Rockets kicks things off at 5:30. And it's a full slate in baseball. The Jays and Red Sox are warming up right now, with Toronto getting smacked 10-2 yesterday. Right now, 4 games are live, having the Twins and Guardians locked at zeros in the bottom of the 4th inning. I'm Zachary Kubusch. That was your sports update. The third and final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
All right, hope you're having a great afternoon. If you're on the way home or wrapping up work, hope you have a wonderful evening ahead of you. We know some people maybe still are at work or got to go in tonight. Regardless, thanks for spending a chunk of your day with Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne. We love having you out there. Limerick here, emailed to Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com from Tube Socks. Reid Wilkins, with vision half zapped, still hosts like he's fully untapped. With one eye on the puck and one out of luck, he's crushing sports talk while eye-wrapped. Okay, I wonder how many eye-related limericks we're going to get in the weeks to come.
Oh, there's lots.
What do we think about this one, boys, though? This bed.
It's good. I like it. I'll read another one.
This is how my surgery sounded. This was playing while I was having surgery.
This came in from VR Montenegro, who's going today by Vanishing Rapidly Montenegro, and in theme of the story, I think. Oilers take Game 5 in a way that's thrilling. Nasties take over Hudson, stone cold chillin'. The Heat says they're cooked. Round 2 spot is booked. The sweet eye patch makes Reid a super villain.
McLean.
What's the Bond clip you have? You should be playing that like a lot.
My vision may be in half McLean, but my abilities at a thief, I can assure you, are more prominent than ever. That wasn't a bad Gruber for having done. Oh, the Bond clip?
That would be like...
It's from Goldfinger. Where is it?
Isn't there a patch person in that movie?
So here's a little behind-the-scenes thing. I don't know if people remember on Monday, you asked me to click something and I couldn't find the mouse. That's because I was losing my vision.
It was happening in real time.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
That is Goldfinger. The actor Gert Frobe. I think someone else had to dub in his lines because he didn't speak English or something like that. So he tried to say everything phonetically. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Whereas Hans Gruber would be like, actually, McLean, I expect you to die watching me take the gold bullion away in my Hertz rent-a-van.
There were a lot of people, though, Reid. I do have to get to a few here. RC and Ladner, hey, here's to a speedy recovery, Reid. Great show as always. Me mateys. RC and Ladner, he says.
Jeez.
Morinville Steb says, Reid, you have one of the best voices, if not the best, in Edmonton sports radio. That comes in from Steb.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Leon's body language. Hey, Reid, I hope, and he spells I with E-Y-E.
Oh,
I hope you're doing all right, brah. It felt to me like the refs kept blowing calls on the Kings when the Oilers would have a much more egregious play, but they couldn't call it without appearances of favoritism. Then literally less than 2 minutes after we score, Kings power play. Managing the game.
That was the Nurse hook. And Nurse got called for tripping earlier in the game in the second period, right? Yeah, tough calls on Nurse. And I believe he tripped Hellenius. And I was like, you know what? This is the fourth line guy that never plays. Let him take the puck into the corner and then just body check him.
Yes.
You don't need to do a desperate poke check there, I don't think.
Speaking of your favorite guy there, Brant Clark. Yeah, like trying to take Evander Kane's torso off.
That probably should be called.
That was awful.
We're getting some text to 780-218-9999. That's the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant, all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday. That is from 4 to 10 p.m. Jay has some more texts coming up. We'll catch up on some emails and some limericks there as well. Ed Hervey's coming up in about 12 or 13 minutes. And you can post in the nasty chat, the old chat function on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk. We're now pushing for 12,000 subscriptions. And keep clicking that thumbs up button. Double word of the day territory easily taken care of. The show record of 353 was on a game day. We recognize there might be more thumbs on a game day. But let's see if we can at least get to 275 today. We need 50 more.
Oh, yeah. Dare to dream.
Click away for an Oilers series controlling win last night. Click away for Tom Gazzola waving at everybody in the nasty chat. Click for, Tom's knowledge of just hockey in general. Click, click, click. Koob, do you want to tell a quick eyeball story? Our off-topic topic for William Huff was an eyeball story.
Yes, it was. I had a couple that came to mind, but one that is still prominent in my mind. I almost have it stuck in my head here. When I was like about 5 years old, I knew these kids, and of course their kids are going to tussle a little bit, like in the playground. They might fight over
a tussle.
A little bit of a tussle. Yeah, they might fight in the sandbox over a big red truck or something like that at recess time. But one recess in particular, one chilly fall morning or something like that, we're out in the sand pit, and I was just hanging around, and these two kids were kind of starting to get into it. And one kid decided to pick up a broken pencil.
Oh, no.
From the sand. And I don't really want to say too much, but the other kid, he showed up to school with an eye patch the next day. His vision is fine. I grew up with him. I knew him later in life, I guess, in junior high and high school. He could see in both eyes, but that one kid got severely in trouble for some actions he had with a broken pencil.
He stabbed the kid with the pencil in the eye?
Yeah.
Jeez,
not a pretty sight. Not a fun story, but wow, I definitely will hold close. So
did you see Jen's eye story? I'm sorry if we missed that one, Jen. Oh, we might have missed stuff earlier in the show.
We were so busy with the story time with Reid.
Yes, sorry, we're not missing anybody on purpose.
Here it is.
We got okay.
When I was 2, I was outside playing with my brother. He decided to swing a hockey stick around. I wasn't paying attention and walked right into it.
Oh, no.
The stick was in my eye. Obviously, it knocked me down. So, the stick was, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I had to get the wood removed from my eye and get stitches on my eyelid. The doctor at the time told me I had to stay awake for the procedure. I was so scared. I remember it clearly, and it was 38 years ago. Luckily, I did not lose my vision. Luckily is right, Jen. Great story.
That's scary.
I got to say this one, too, from Amos Moses. It's quick. A guy went to electrical school, had a glass eyeball. He'd take it out and drop it in our drinks at the bar sometimes.
Why?
Don't chew or swallow the ice in your Ryan Coke. Gah! That's terrible.
That's disgusting.
God, keep your eyeballs in the socket.
I would not have hung out with that guy.
No, that would have been a one and done for me.
Like if he would have done it, I might have been like, oh, and tried to laugh it off. I probably wouldn't have told him off. I just would have been like, never gone out with him again.
No.
Because if he thinks that's funny, he's probably not going to change if you pull him aside and say, hey, man, people didn't think your eyeball thing was very funny. He'd probably be like, what are you talking about? It's fine. I just would have been like, I just would have ostracized him.
I used to have a buddy that would have a few drinks and he'd start trying to bite my ear. Literally. And I'd be like,
just
dude,
don't do it.
This is enough. I'm not joking. I know you're there and I'm not there at that level.
Right.
But stop. I can't. And it wouldn't stop. Every time we'd end up meeting each other out in the wilderness or, at a pub, he'd start trying to bite my ear. So I said,
even
friends
when
off.
Even when he was not inebriated?
No. But most times I saw him at those places he was.
So he just thought that was his thing.
So I called friends off. Can't do that.
Yeah. There's a point where you're just like,
I don't want to have my ear bitten.
Yeah.
No, we're not by him.
We're not bonding.
Yeah. This ain't cool, bro.
Yeah. If you want to be friends with me, there are other ways to show it.
Dap me up.
Yeah.
I don't need to have my ear nibbled.
Limerick from the Big Uke. He sends one pretty much every day. While playing the Kings, Kane has been a besieger. Pickard seeing clear like Reid will post-procedure. Pirates of EST dressing up. Hee-hee. Do you think golf is a good game for leisure? Not more good work by the Big U. Did you read Nick's or not?
No, you go ahead.
I got Bronco Nick's here.
Not for you.
Reid is wearing a patch. The Oilers won the match. The city is high. I drink rye. I think I need another batch.
Well done.
Pretty good. We get some pretty good limericks coming in.
Let's do a quick buying or selling here before we get to Ed
For
Hervey.
Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years, he and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate.
Buying or selling, Reid, that was the most complete game the Oilers have played this entire season, not just playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. Playoffs are different. So I'm not even going to try to remember games from the season because they did have some good ones. But given the stakes of that game, absolutely. I mean, just excellent. All up and down the lineup. I know they allowed a power play goal against, but key penalty kill in the third. Everybody was checking. Everybody was committed. Everybody was desperate. They were very busy in the offensive zone. You know, most nights you'd hope they score more than 2 on the goaltender, but Kemper was good. I'm totally buying that was the Oilers' most complete game of the season.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of maybe a club that this city has been looking for a while.
Right.
And I don't think enough credit is given to the, batch of players that were thrown at the wall on game 1.
Right.
And say, here, you figure it out. You guys go play together. You're the team that's going to take us there. Well, they have never played together.
Right.
In some instances, and haven't played in a long while in a few other instances. So I think you're starting to see that come together, the congealing of this team, because that game was not in doubt. It was just not in doubt. One more for you, Reid. Buying or selling? Are the Oilers purposely pressuring or over-pressuring Drew Doughty anytime he has the puck?
I think they're just trying to hit as often as possible. And Doughty is the driver on the back end. I don't think he played the most minutes last night, but he plays a ton. He's their best all-round defenseman. I mean, Edmondson and Gavrikov are very good. But Doughty is out there in offensive situations as well.
Doughty played the most, 26:06.
Oh, he did play the most? I thought somebody had more last night. Maybe it was the previous game. So he plays a ton. But this is what, Gord Stellick was talking about. John Cooper saying it. And we know it's the Oilers' philosophy this year. Other teams over the years. Prepare for a long series. Hit. Play everybody. Wear the other team down. So I think the Oilers, they know Drew Doughty's an excellent defenseman. If you can do something so he's at 96% instead of 100, who knows? Maybe that 4% missing makes a difference at some point.
I feel like as though he has lost a step, and it's getting more and more noticeable here as this series goes on. I find that if Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl has the puck on their stick and Drew Doughty is checking them, they don't even know that he's there or don't play like he's there because he simply doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with them. It's almost like you could, you're just playing footsie with him and he's not able to keep up, right? It's as if nobody's even on him. If it's McDavid or Draisaitl. So I've just thought that it seems like it's a real chill mood in the offensive zone when McDavid or Draisaitl has the puck and Drew Doughty is checking them. Fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they're aware, right? Well, look what the Kings were trying to do to McDavid, especially in the first period last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, throwing him on the ice. They couldn't really catch up to him most of the rest of the game. You got to target the other team's best players. You got to make it uncomfortable for them. But yes, I do think the Oilers know what Doughty can do. And you got to punish whenever you can. Big chance to end it tomorrow night. In the McDavid-Draisaitl era, when the Oilers are up 3-2 in a series, they are 3-0. In 2017, they won Game 6 in the first round in San Jose 3-1. 2 years ago, they won Game 6 in Los Angeles 5-4. Remember, Yamamoto had that long-range floater that went in. Klim Kostin scored a couple of times in that game. And last year, home ice, Game 6 against Dallas. That was a game they were badly outshot, but won it 2-1. Speaking of Jack Michael, still one of my favorite Jack Michaels calls of all time was the last minute of that game against Dallas, and then the Oilers winning the Western Conference. So that history bodes well. The Oilers will try to repeat it tomorrow night. All right, it's 5:18. The Elks announcing one of their draft picks is suspended for a year, but they decided to take him anyway. We'll dive into that and more with GM Ed Hervey when we get back.
The Canadiens and Capitals open up the night in the NHL. Caps up 3-1 in the series while Montreal starts Jakub Kubusch. And they hit the ice without Patrik Laine. That one's tied at zeros early in the first period. After that, Game 5 in the Battle of Florida goes down. The Cats up 3-1 on the Bolts before the Blues and Jets clash, with the series tied at 2. In the CFL, Darien Newell, Edmonton's 10th overall pick from last night's draft, has been suspended for 1 year for violating the CFL's drug policy. The Elks released a statement saying that the team was well aware of Newell's impending suspension before selecting him. Elsewhere, 2 teams are on the brink of elimination in basketball. Houston plays host to Golden State as the Rockets have to find a win to stay alive in Game 5, while LeBron James and his Lakers trail 3-1 to the T-Wolves. In baseball, Toronto and Boston rematch with the Jays falling 10-2 last night. Right now, the Sox are up 2-0 in the top of the first inning. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Visit their website at advantagesportmed.ca. Elks General Manager Ed Hervey joins us after the break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Jamie McLennan, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. They're playing with more courage, forcing those defenders to play. Like Kane is there. All of a sudden, now there's a physical response on the Oilers side where they're not going to get pushed around. And Chris Knobloch talked about it the other day. The guys who hadn't played with the team all year or had been injured for long stretches, they were getting better every game.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Weekday mornings, 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Strike up some fun at the Banquet Bar. Bowling, drinks, and a great time with friends, where the good times roll. Whether you're here to bowl or just hang out, the Banquet Bar is your go-to spot. Get real, play hard at the Banquet.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Your home for great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
My mother used to let us not lock the doors. She's like, if you're locking the doors inside of the house, it means you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Yeah, that's why we lock the doors.
Host of the Bad Friends and Whiskey Ginger podcast, don't miss Andrew Santino, Freeze Peach, live at the River Cree May 22nd.
Michael, what are you doing? We have locks on the outside of the house to keep criminals from coming inside. There's no criminals inside of this house. Yes, there are, Karen.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. Excitement, bet on it.
And there they go to Sentinel Storage. The snowblower and winter gear goes in. They shoot, we store.
Need extra space? Store your winter gear with Sentinel Storage and win extra space at home. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca. Proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Jamie McLennan, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. They're playing with more courage, forcing those defenders to play. Like Kane is there. All of a sudden, now there's a physical response on the Oilers side where they're not going to get pushed around. And Chris Knobloch talked about it the other day. The guys who hadn't played with the team all year or had been injured for long stretches, they were getting better every game.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by South Fort Chevrolet. Weekday mornings, 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us. Ed Hervey, GM of your Edmonton Elks, going to join us here in a minute or two. Pretty significant story to discuss there. We'll get some comments from Ed on that. Of course, you can keep getting in touch. River Cree Resort and Casino inbox 780-218-9999. River Cree Resort and Casino featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Keep clicking away at the thumbs up button on YouTube.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
All right, 240 thumbs. Those 3 dozen more to get to 275. That'd be pretty cool to get there. We will have a double word of the... Would you guys do word of the day yesterday?
Yes, we did.
Who quizzed who?
I quizzed Matthew.
Okay.
And he got 2 out of 4.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
I did not... I watched some of the show yesterday. I did not make it through all of it. Not because of you guys.
Well, you were tired, man.
I got a little tired after I got home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was like, well, I wanted to watch you guys, but I needed to watch the Oilers game. So I was like, I better sneak in a quick nap. Do we have anything we can watch on the ESTV? Have these games started yet? We can set it up next break.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We want to have a little bit on.
TBD, bro.
DVD for everything. Okay.
Okay.
Are we going to get Ed on video after all? We are going to get... Okay, so we'll give Ed another second to jump in there. Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, speaking this morning in Los Angeles. Just talking about some of the options they have on defense now.
I don't think we're ever going to replace an Ekholm. Ekholm just gives us so much, but the group that we have right now are doing a tremendous job stepping up in his absence. And think about, we're fortunate to have that depth that we have. I'm thinking back at the trade deadline about, adding what do we need? And we're thinking maybe a top line forward or more depth defenseman. And, certainly with the injury to Ekholm, we're very fortunate that the right move was to trade for a guy like Wallman. And in fact, the Wallman being a great fit for us.
Well, the Wallman trade looking important now. And again, I think he's gotten better as the series has gone on. And oddly enough, the Klingberg signing mid-season, I guess he missed game 1. Like the 4 games he's played, he's been at least good or often very good in every game.
Absolutely.
I was talking, I don't know if Gager mentioned it on his show or not, but he's good defending too. He doesn't, I think sometimes he can get checked, but who can't?
He was in a bit of trouble there last night, but
but he certainly can get out of it.
Fans are used to it with
and
the
again,
defense.
the play he made on the Kane goal, like that's an elite play at the blue line. Not just to hack that puck in, but to get it away from 2 guys and set up Kane in the high slot. So a lot of positives for the Oilers last night. Now they want the ultimate positive to close it out tomorrow night. Kings are going to be desperate. Well, if they're not, that's their own fault. But, LA is still a good team, right? So they will have an 8 o'clock game. We'll extend this show until 6:30 tomorrow, and then Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas will take over at 6:30 and go until 8. Mr. Gerbic says that I missed the Ed Hervey interview. No, Ed's coming right up. How close are we, Koob?
He is logged in here, but if he can hear me, we just can't see him.
Well, we can just can we just do audio with this connection?
Oh, we got him. We got him.
Oh, we got him. Okay. Koob will set that up. All right. We have Ed Hervey, GM of the Edmonton Elks. Ed, good to see you again. Thanks for taking time to do video. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing very well. I'm going to dive right in, Ed. Obviously, it's a story of the day for you guys. The Elks put out a release about it as well on Darien Newell, who you guys drafted, but he has been suspended for a year for violating the leagues and the Players Association substance policy. Can you just maybe give us as much background as you can on this and why the Elks still chose to go forward with drafting this player?
Well, first, with respect to the player, we've done we have investigated and did a lot of background work on Darien throughout the process at the start of the year. So we were pretty much all the information that we had on him as a person, his character, and everything that we needed to satisfy us going into the draft process, all checked out, and we felt very good about it. And as through our evaluation process and just watching him as a player, we felt very good about it. We believed that he was a top 5 player in the draft. We felt he was a guarantee. He was going to go in the first round. We really didn't think that we had an opportunity to even get him, to be honest with you, because we didn't have a first round pick. That's the playing part. And then as the week went by, and then we got the information last week, so we interviewed with him and talked a little bit more about it and spent a lot of time hammering him on real, just diving straight into what's going on, right? And I felt good about the direction of that the conversation was going, and it was very tough questioning, and with respect to his draft status, he dropped. He fell for. I believe he was going to go between 2 and 4. I don't have any reason not to believe that would have been true. And when it got to 10, I said it's worth it because our roster, we didn't necessarily need our player to be in camp this year. And that's the luxury that we have going into camp with the amount of the Canadian depth that we have and the starters and stuff. So, my responsibility to the football team is always, look at now and then look at the future. And if you look at it logically from a standpoint of football, we have his first round talent that's falling to the second round. That's going to be a future. And my responsibility and our responsibility to this organization and to the fans that follow this team is to ensure that the future of this football team and the depth and the talent that we have is worthy of coming in and impacting the roster. And so that was the decision there. And I didn't want to allow that player at 10 to go past us because we didn't pick again until 22. Right? So strategically, I'm going to take the best player on the board from the football standpoint. Shifting
Ed Hervey
gears.
joining us, Elks GM. Ed, you went out and drafted 7 U Sports players. All of your draft picks were used on U Sports players that play here in Canada. I know that club president Chris Morris hired you as the GM, gave you the reins to run this and do this and take over this process. But seeing that, I would have to imagine, given his recent history, serving as the head coach of the Golden Bears, you drafted 2 UBC running backs in your second and third picks. How involved was Chris Morris with this process?
Chris, I've asked Chris some questions, but don't discount the ability of our scouting department, our staff. Like those guys, are very in tuned in the U sport and North American football in general. Excuse me. But obviously, to not utilize a resource like Chris, who's coached in the U sport in Can West, and being able to get information, I'd be able to walk down the hall and ask questions. We gather information on every player, and we use every viable resource that we have to make sure that we have all the information that we have. Even before we, over the weekend, Chris and I talked about Darien and drafting him. I laid everything out, and Chris says, this kid was, one of the best players in U Sport for the last several years, and he says he's a good kid. He vouched for him as well, knowing him from the recruiting days. So I felt very good about that part of our process, but also, he still was the coach of U of A last year. Like he still has all this information. So yes, we're going to utilize every bit of the resources that he could provide, and he had a role that allowed us to, decide between certain players, and he was there to make sure that, we understood if we had questions, he was there to answer them.
Ed, a few days ago, there was a video that was released by
the Elks organization, the culture. It was an Elks original feature. For those of you listening, watching that have not seen this, it's on YouTube. It's must watch. It gives you a really in-depth perspective on the draft process, the combine process. I thought it was very well done. Is this something that was created? I mean, when you especially came in and you know, Chris came in, then hired you, then Coach Killam, and you wanted to connect with the community, and fan engagement was a big part and a big step of moving in the right direction for this organization. Was this a direct move to you know, help and engage the fans that are here in Edmonton?
Absolutely. You know, this is part of our responsibility in working for this organization is to embrace the roles that we have, but also embrace the community in which we live. And we've talked about that from day one. You know, we're very busy and doing a lot of different things. We will be out in the community, but as you know, Jay, as you know, Reid, like the realities of our time, we can put it all into a video and hope that people who are watching us have a chance to watch it, and you can watch it over and over again. But we wanted to make certain that people had a chance to really understand when we're talking about culture shift and reestablishing the ways of Edmonton and this organization, and getting away from whatever has gotten us to a point to where the club is, you know, has not been living up to its standard, you know, and its mandate from this fan base. And Chris and I and Mark, we talk about it. To be here, to work here, you have to care. But we also realize that our message, we have to get our message out there. And the shows like yours and the various shows that we do are all, you know, excellent shows for us, and we're excited about being on them. And we definitely appreciate the coverage that you give us. And in addition to that, we have to also do what we can to create content for our fans that are interested in us or thinking about rejoining us or joining us for the first time. We want to give them an opportunity to see behind the walls here and really see what it is that we're working on and how important it is to us to give them not only a great product, but have them understand that we're bringing in people that we want to release into this community that are going to buy into this community and ultimately be residents of this community. So it's important for us, for our message to get out there for sure.
Ed, I just got one more for you, and thanks for being so generous with your time. I'm very fascinated by the whole draft process and evaluating young men and trying to decide if they can contribute to the organization. I know you guys draft players who are a little older than hockey players, but there's a former Oil King who's now on the St. Louis Blues named Jake Neighbors. He had a 3-point game, I think, on the weekend. And when he got drafted, I said, "What's the weirdest question you got asked in an interview?" And he said, one team said, "Would you sooner pick up a $20 bill on the floor of a bathroom or a $100 bill in the toilet bowl?" And I think the point was just to see if he formulated an answer.
Yeah.
Do you have something that you like to throw at guys you interview just to see how their brain, like maybe there's no right or wrong answer? Do you go off the board like that, or do you keep it a little more straightforward?
Well, I thought you were asking me that question. Because I was going to give you an answer.
Well, don't be afraid to give you can also answer that question. Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. Think about it. I'm reaching in the toilet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's the right answer.
Yeah, it is the right answer. You wash your hands and you go from there. First of all, when we start our process, I tell our guys, like, listen, guys, we're not asking the ridiculous questions, and I'll explain that, not as in a negative, but as more as a positive. I said, these players, we have 13 minutes with them, right? We have 13 minutes with them. This is the combine is their day. It's their opportunity to go in. They're already nervous, and we have to get some information. We're going to Zoom with them later. We're going to do a lot of more interviews later. But I look at it this way, is that when the players are sitting with us in that 13 minutes, we want to get to know them, but we want them to know us as well. I want every player to walk out of our meeting room and go, man, I really want to play for Edmonton. I hope they draft me. Our process is that we'll interview 70 players, but you only get to draft 8. So what do the other 62 players think of us when they leave our room? So for me, it's if I ask them questions that are it to me, it's ultimately is wasting our time, because the process of building, players and getting to know the players, I want them to feel good about coming in our room and even better going out. Yeah. That being said, I have heard some questions that I sat in my younger days of a scout and just listen to the questions that are asked, and I would sit there and think to myself, I'd never ask that question. But it's low on the totem pole. So, and I've had someone ask someone if you had a choice, what would you rather be? A bear or a tiger, and why? And
I think that depends on the species of bear.
Okay, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but I think, why even ask me a crazy question like that? And see, I could say if I were sitting there, someone asked me that question, and I was a player, I was a prospect, I'd probably look around, and my question would be, are you guys serious?
I'm not surprised you hear. I'll tell you though, the way that Jake told me he answered that, and I know you're very busy, but you would love watch that. It's too bad you weren't here when Jake was an Oil King, because you would have loved watching him, and now he's on the Blues. But he said, and I can't remember if it was 100 and a 20 or whatever, but he said, I'd go for the 100 because I'm not afraid to go to the dirty areas, which is a good answer for a forward in hockey.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Ed. We know you've had a busy day. It's been a busy week. Thanks for clarifying the story with Darien Newell and touching on some other draft-related stories. We're looking forward to camp getting started and the season ahead. Always appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right on. Ed Hervey, GM of the Edmonton Elks. So, yeah, he kind of clarified there. They drafted Darien Newell, who has been suspended for a year, but they still drafted him. We should say as well, Newell saying in his statement to this, thanking the Elks for being drafted, he said, during my preparation for the draft, I was notified by the league I had tested positive for banned substances. I believe that the substances in question came from products I took while attending my pro day in Buffalo, where I did not have access to my usual supplements. I did not knowingly or intentionally use a product that violated the substance abuse policy. Still, as an athlete, I must take full accountability for everything I put in my body. And as Ed said, they've investigated this player, his character, his behavior, certainly his performance, and they're comfortable taking him and having him not available for a year, but having him be an Edmonton Elk.
Well, and look at the facts of the matter. He said it. Their Canadian talent on the defensive line is plumb full. It's there. It's good. So you have now the unique, I guess, ability to draft a player that is not going to be a part of your team for one season, knowing that you have depth there now, and you can have this as a future, as Ed referred to it as. So I'm glad that was stated in that way as to the thought process behind that selection.
Yeah. Okay. Good to have Ed on the show. Thumbs up on YouTube. Keep clicking away. We need 20 more to get to 275, which would be an excellent total. But we just want you to help us reach that finish. Run through the wall. You're not running, or like you teach a sprinter in sprinting. You don't run to the finish line. You run through the finish line.
Wow, that's deep.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome, bro.
Word of the day coming up as well. Final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne ahead.
There's a trio of games in the NHL right now. The Caps lead 2-0 over the Habs midway through the first period, and just getting underway, it's the Bolts hoping to stay alive, down 3-1 to the Panthers before St. Louis battles Winnipeg with that series a best of 3. On the court, the Warriors and Rockets are underway early in Game 5. as Golden State has a chance to take the series. Later, the Lakers fight for their playoff lives as they're down 3-1 against the T-Wolves. And baseball has tons of action, including the Jays and Red Sox underway in the top of the second, with Boston having a 2-0 lead with 8 other games live. And after being picked 10th overall by the Elks at the CFL draft yesterday, defensive lineman Darien Newell has been banned for 1 year for breaking the CFL's drug policy. The Elks released a statement regarding the situation, stating that the franchise was aware that Newell was set to be suspended prior to drafting. And this sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years. Their West End showroom is open 7 days a week. You can also shop online at ParamountFlooring.ca. It's the final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show, bringing us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Must you click? Click. Must you click?
All right, thanks, Koob. 5:46. Hope you've had a good day. Have a good evening ahead. What do we got? The Habs game is going on. Florida, Tampa Bay just getting underway. St. Louis, Winnipeg, by the way, already 2-0 Washington. They're trying to finish off the Canadians. No score early, Panthers and Lightning. Anybody get it suspended or hit hard in that game? or fined or whatever. And the Blues and the Jets playing. So that's an 8:30 game in Winnipeg then.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for them.
Do you?
Well...
Why?
We got all the late games, but they had like the noon game on the weekend. It's weird, and all the games. So that's the series. It started 2 games before the Oilers, and 2 days before the Oilers and the Kings. If both series go the distance, Game 7 would be the day after the Oilers and the Kings.
Wow, and they've had to wait 3 days.
Yeah, they keep having the 2-day breaks between games.
Terrible.
Well, what can you do?
What can you do?
Oilers trying to finish it off tomorrow night, Game 6 on home ice against the Kings. As I was told you, in the McDavid-Draisaitl era, the Oilers are 3-0 when they have a 3-2 series lead. 2017, they won 3-1 in San Jose. 2023, they won 5-4 in LA. Last year, Western Conference Final against Dallas, 2-1 win against the Stars, despite being outshot 36 or 35-11, whatever it was.
You know what was a great sign last night, and we didn't really get into it. This show flew by. But I'll ask you it now. Was there anybody noticeably exceptional for the Oilers? Or awful?
I think everybody played very well.
Yeah, flow of somebody that's wow, that player really stood out, or wow, that player was really awful. When you can tighten that up as they did with their time on ice.
Yeah.
We saw that.
That's a good point.
I think it bodes well for this team.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing we've talked about too, is you expect McDavid and Draisaitl to be outstanding, and I still think they had a good game.
Yes. That's par for the course.
But Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Kane being a line, that's the game changer.
Yes.
And I guess maybe it's getting Kane back. And I'll be the first to admit, I didn't know he was good. I wasn't sure he could play as well as he's playing. Well, I think some of the listeners were pretty confident. More than I was.
I really did like Hyman's game last night. I mean, he was just fighting and battling continually.
And I don't always pay attention to that hit stat, but he had like a ton of hits again.
Yeah.
So they're just grinding, and that's the thing. If you have other lines, even if they're not always scoring, if you have other lines not getting scored on and getting the puck into the offensive zone, then you can play Leon and Connor together. Because then you can say, hey, Arvidsson and Podkolzin and Janmark, well, they scored last night, but Knobloch can say, hey, maybe they don't get every shift, but they're not going to hurt us, and they're going to grind. And then Henrique, Brown, and Frederick again.
Yes.
Better every game.
Yep.
Henrique looks more like playoff Henrique than regular season Henrique. Same with Brown to an extent. Now you can say, okay, well, those guys are going to work in the offensive zone, right?
No, I agree.
Yeah. And then we know what Leon and Connor usually do together. And then you have a second line that, again, scored a goal and works pretty hard. So now coaching against the Oilers or planning against the Oilers, it's like, okay, there's not a break. Maybe the other lines can't move it around and cycle and pass it around the offensive zone like Leon and Connor, but these other guys are in our face. Like we gotta work to get the puck to the other end.
Well, and look, that is a sign of a team that's excuse me, going in the right direction, right?
I agree.
This series is not over. We've established that, but things are sure looking good for Oilers.
The expectation of how the Oilers are going to perform has risen, which is good. Jay and I are coming to you from the Banquet Studio. Celebrate your birthday at the Banquet Bar. I believe Jasmine still is. Her birthday was 3 weeks ago. Celebrate your birthday at the Banquet Bar. Amazing drinks, great vibes, and unforgettable memories. Book your party today at thebanquetbar.com. Okay, what are we at for thumbs here? Let's rally. One final quick rally. We need 15 more. So text somebody the link, introduce them to the show. Tell them to hit that thumbs up, or if you're a regular, don't delay any longer. Click away. Though we're pretty proud of the total today of 260. Let's just see if we can get to 275.
Is that correct? Are the Lightning on the board? Yeah.
Lightning have scored?
Yeah, 1-0 over Florida.
Okay. We don't have that
word
game.
of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
All right. So Matthew went 2 for 4?
Yes.
And did he spell right or get the definitions right?
One was a spell, one was a definition.
Okay.
Now, admittedly, and this is just by pure chance. It's not like I choose these words. I have secrets that I won't divulge. But the words that were given, some thought you would have done maybe 3 out of 4, maybe even 4 out of 4.
Well, I don't know what they were.
I don't remember
if you
either.
Want to give, well, we'll save them.
I'll find them. Okay, the first word of the day, insouciance.
Oh, I've seen this word, and I don't.
One was usurp.
Oh, usurp means to overthrow. USURP. That's easy.
Yeah, he added an E. See?
No, that's easy.
Yeah, okay.
Insouciance. INSOUCIANCE. You know what, Jay? I feel as if, because you know how I've been doing a little more book reading the last year or so. Okay, so in the emergency waiting room on Monday night, it's boring.
Sure.
Well, there was a game on, but their reception was like 1980s with a bad aerial.
No.
So I'm like, I'll read on my Libby app on my phone. Oh wait, half of my one eye isn't working. That didn't last very long.
Oh.
But I feel as if I've read the word insouciance in one of the books I've read in the last year, and I looked it up, and I can't remember the definition. I will say...
You want me to use it in a sentence?
Sure. But yeah, I lose a quarter point or half a point.
You lose a half point.
Okay.
Yeah, you lose a half point. I have to say that. The young actor charmed interviewers with his easy smile and devil-may-care insouciance. That wasn't a great sentence.
So
I'm not gonna lie.
well, it has to do somehow with someone who's good at making casual conversation. It involves being good at casual conversation. No, I couldn't figure it out. I feel shame.
Insouciance
you suck.
Insouciance is a formal word that refers to a feeling of carefree unconcern.
Okay.
Go ahead. Make my day.
All right, so I only get the spelling there.
The second word of the day, amaranthin. Amaranthin.
Let's go, girls.
Amaranthin.
Amaranthin.
I have never heard or read this word that I can remember.
This is an adjective, amaranthin.
Okay, well, I'll go with just the first, because you often say just go with your first instinct.
Just go with your gut.
Amarthyn. Didn't get it. But you understand why I spelled it that way. Okay, then is it
your amaranthin?
Oh, there's an N in there. Amaranthin. That's still wrong.
Thine.
Okay, that was the other thing I was thinking too, because it's not always pronounced thine sometimes. Okay,
right.
Well, so I didn't. My bad. I didn't hear the N, and then I made the wrong 50-50 guess on the end of the word. Whatever.
Definition.
Yeah, no idea. You got to use it in a sentence. See if I can salvage a half point here.
Unfading or everlasting
is the definition.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't even use it in a sentence for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening.
I wouldn't have gotten it.
I was looking because in the comments, people are saying maybe this is the gutsiest performance of EST. This show.
Well, if I would have worked yesterday, that would have.
Well, that would have been just downright.
I didn't defy doctor's orders by working today.
No, you wouldn't. And quite frankly, nobody would let you.
No, nobody here would let me work. Like, if I would have showed up today looking spaced out or bleeding from the eye, you guys would have been like, you're going home. No, you guys were great about it.
I think Koob already added it maybe to the list, right?
Yes. And I'll say publicly, I'll be voting for it.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Koob. I will too.
Okay. Great show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. 6 a.m. tomorrow, the Nielsen Show. Live coverage all the way through until 8 o'clock here on EST, 8 p.m. when the Oilers play the Kings tomorrow night. Thanks for all your messages, your limericks, for participating in the show, even if you just listened or watched. We love having you out there. On behalf of the Koob and the Glue Guy, I'm Reid. Take care.